Well, welcome back, guys. First set of the day was definitely very great. I'm Dolson now on the desk, but not joined by Pretty Hair. Instead, I'm being joined by Vex30, the support here for our second segment of the day. Good to have you here, and we definitely have a very exciting, I would say, second set of the day. Envy, NIP. Envy had a very good day, of course, yesterday. What do you kind of look out for overall in a set like this?
So in a set like this, I think what this set specifically comes down to is their tank players.
Yeah.
I think Envy and NIP have the best tank players, I think, right now.
Sure.
And it's going to come down to whoever performs the best on that role.
Did you see, I mean, obviously Renegades are playing very well right now. Did you maybe see a slightly weaker NIP yesterday? Was it a little of Renegades playing well and maybe NIP not playing as well?
It was a little bit of both, to be honest. I think NIP has been falling off a little bit. They still have it going, but
Sure.
Renegades, after playing them today, I could see it in their players and the way they're playing together. They're really stepping it up. So.
And of course, this is a very important game for Envy as well. And Envy are playing. We were able to sit down with Random Noob, and he kind of talked to us about how they're really starting to pick things up. They had a bit of an up and down start to their season, but have started playing a lot better over the last few weeks. And if I was kind of talking to Nick about this, I think if Envy start off the way they did yesterday and NIP maybe have a slower start again, this could be poised for one of the bigger upsets of the season, of course, with their win yesterday solidifying their place in third place, now in this spot. And Na'Vi has been the other team that's kind of given NIP a bit of a run for the money in the past. I think 4-2 is the closest that NIP have had up to this point. Sort of on paper, do you think Envy, have a chance to make this a close one?
Oh, yeah. I personally think this set's going to go 4-3. I think this is going to go all the way. I think Envy's going to start strong. Nip brings it back a little bit. It's going to go back and forth, I think, this whole entire set.
It should be. It should be a very exciting one, absolutely. Looking over at the NIP side of things, of course, they've had a lot working for them up to this point. And Alex has been one of the guys that we've sort of sung his praises as far as his flexibility, going on to so many different champions, playing them all very, very well. If you're going into a match against NIP, looking at Alex specifically, what are some things you keep your eye out for?
It's just flexibility and how different he plays. He has this play style. He has a perfect mix of aggression and passiveness. He knows when to just chill and do nothing. But then he knows when to just go in and go hard on the team.
Right. And that's exactly what he did here. This Vivian game, I think he had 38 kills or something absurd like that.
It's the highest kill so far, I think. So it's insane.
It was absolutely ridiculous on this one. The rest of his team definitely helping and help kind of push from behind in that one. Average damage, of course, 83,000. And given how short some of their sets have been, I would say that's a pretty high number given how fast, some of their games are. So he's a guy, not only in game, I think that can make a big difference, but his flexibility allows NIP to go a bunch of different directions even in the draft. Would you sort of identify him as one of their more aggressive players? Do you have to keep your eye out for him really busting down the doors per se?
Yeah, typically when they're playing, they have the Maeve, they have the Eevee, they have the flankers, and Alex is playing that, so he does bust down the door. Him and Diggy work together, and they just go in and they find that pick.
Of course, Diggy Dog, the second guy we're going to highlight here today, and you sort of mentioned the frontline matchup in this set is going to be one of the bigger ones, and of course Diggy Dog filling sort of that hybrid frontline role here for NIP. What does Diggy Dog bring to the table sort of in that regard?
So what's interesting about Diggy is before the season, he was a DPS player. He's been a DPS player forever. And coming into tank, especially off-tank role, he plays like a DPS, and it's working extremely well. He's pushed his limits on that off-tank, so he knows how far he can go without dying, and he's outputting DPS. He's finding the kills. He's finding the space. He's doing everything you want from an off-tank right now.
Absolutely, and I think having a Khan and an Atlas sort of as his main off-tanks, champions that sort of the mechanics of it are very similar to that of a traditional DPS champion is boded very well for him. Of course, a beautiful play. I remember casting that one. And NIP, they're firing kind of on all cylinders right now. What is it that Envy maybe need to do to stop NIP, would you say? If anyone really knew, they wouldn't be 10-0 right now, but is there something that Envy can really capitalize on, do you think?
I think the draft.
Yeah.
You can't capitalize on any of NIP's players because they're all 100% on their game all the time.
Yeah.
They need to come in with a different draft. NIP changes their draft all the time. So if Envy comes in with something different, something interesting NIP hasn't seen before, it could throw them off and they could take a couple free games off of it.
Absolutely. And that's sort of been the trend to start things off, I would say. NIP have maybe not so much over the last couple of weeks, but I remember the first, 7, 8 weeks up to this point, they've, every draft maybe something interesting. Of course, yesterday they had a triple DPS composition for their first game against Renegades, and that was the furthest gap, I should say, we saw yesterday, especially against Renegades. Very, very surprising. Of course, we have to jump down to a quick interview with the boys and see how they're feeling before this game.
All right, well, I'm here with Bonker, and I want to say, yesterday you still got the 4-0, although it took a little while to get there. I saw you guys, we ran into you when you were going to get some ice cream. How's the team feeling for it today?
We're feeling confident, as always. We're calm, collected. Yeah.
Anything big from yesterday that you learned going up against the Renegades that you think is going to apply immediately today?
Nothing that we learned. We just learned that we're very good at coming back at maps, even if we're down 0-3. I mean, a win is a win, doesn't matter the score.
So with that, I guess being able to come back when it's either 3-1, 3-3, either way, when you look at Envy, they have been a team that has been to the top. They've been a world champ. They are still kind of, I think, coming into what was their former glory, but do you think this set's going to be a lot closer than most people would perceive?
Yeah, I mean, I think Envious has improved a lot, and I think that they understand the current meta at the moment. So I think it's not going to be a 4-0 like it was last time, or whatever the score was. I don't even remember, but it's going to be a close set, I think.
Awesome. Well, good luck in your games, guys, and we'll go ahead and get this set kicked off soon. Let's go back to the desk, and then we'll get over to Envy.
Absolutely. Feeling confident, but not overly confident. You can't be that way, I don't think, against any team in this league. We talked to a few of your teammates sort of about Renegades as well, if you want to look at that. But everyone seems to be improving at a pretty constant pace, and I think Bonker said it pretty well there, where it's like, yeah, we beat them pretty handily last time, but I don't think it's going to be the same this time. And I think that's a very important mentality to have coming into this. Of course, looking at Team Envy, they have a pretty studded roster as well. Of course, world champions last year. And one of the guys I want to zone in on, one of the guys who will be going toe-to-toe, I think, with Alex today is Rock Monkey. And I like to call it the Rock Monkey effect. What does he bring to the table for Envy? I mean, he always sort of has that potential to kind of pop off in any given game.
Rock, I think he started the season a bit slower. I think that was one of the biggest things is Rock wasn't Rock Monkey, that HRX Rock Monkey. But over the past couple of weeks, he has found it. It's brought it back. Maybe it was the team house getting settled in. Maybe that was a big factor in it. I don't know what it was, but he has really stepped up and brought back that HRX Rock Monkey, that Vegas Rock Monkey from last year.
Is there anything, if you're loading into game, or you're loading into picks and bans, I should say, as Rock Monkey, against Rock Monkey, are there any champions that you just not necessarily don't want him to get, but are there any champions, maybe Cassie, namely, that scare you more than others when Rock Monkey has them?
Cassie. I think that's it. It's just Cassie. He's flexible, and he plays everything really well, but he is so known for that Cassie. That's his highlight plays are mainly on Cassie. Now, this Maeve he's pulling out lately, he's pulling out these flankers that are working really well. Yeah. And he's improving on them, and they look amazing so far. So
they absolutely have it. And another guy, I mean, we talked about Alex's flexibility. Of course, Rock Monkey, always dangerous on the Cassie, but has the ability to flex onto other champions as well. Another guy to look at is Tulky, of course. In that frontline matchup, we sort of highlighted Diggy Dog playing the true frontline role. A little bit more point tanky here is Tulky. And that's been an interesting meta point to bring up as well, is how aggressive and fast-paced the meta can be. But Tulky's sort of been a tried-and-true player for Team Envy. What do they need out of him today in order to maybe take a win?
So with Barrick being a high-priority pick right now, with him being with it after his buffs, he's looking really good. What Tulky does well on main tank that not all main tanks do is he makes plays. He knows when to go in. He knows when to get off point and go frag. Tulky, I think yesterday got a quadra, almost a pentakill, and he has highlights of him doing that consistently. He does this almost once a week. He gets these highlight plays on the main tank, and that's very hard to do.
It's almost what's the word, like siren-like. He kind of lulls you in and then will suddenly get aggressive and jump into your face and maybe even find some kills. So they look for Rock Monkey to continue his pacing, and of course Tulky, another guy that they're going to lean on heavily today. We actually don't have an in-person interview with them today. We were able to sit down with Random Noob and hear some of his thoughts going into this matchup.
I think the meta is kind of really it's just all over the place. I think it's so healthy right now that it doesn't really matter where you're at as long as you're playing really good Paladins. I think you can win with like anything. So as far as like our grasp of like what we think is good in certain situations, I think we have a pretty good grasp of it. Obviously, always could be better. I'd say like Meta and Hayes do a lot of our out of game stuff, not like drafting or anything, but like just like getting scrims set up, like getting our team ready to play. And for drafting right now, it's been Rock. In the past, it's been me, but Rock's been doing a lot of the drafting, like just final say on stuff. And in game, I think it's been just like a team thing. And overall, it has really been a team thing. Like we're trying to do everything and not put too much pressure on one person and carry the load a little bit. I think when you're getting to like the better teams in the league, like Navi, Nip, VP, us potentially SSG, like we can play anything. So it really comes down to getting your team in the best position to win against what their team has. Really more than taking away something from them because their player is weaker on that. I don't think that really matters at the top level. I think it really comes down to what does your team do against their team across the board. I think NIP just trusts each other really well. Obviously, like they draft incredibly well. They're very smart about the game, but I think they really just trust each other and they play off each other like that. Like you see Digi going ham and just going in and making all that space, and Bidner and Alex are right there to follow up on it. So I really think it just comes down to trust. When someone makes a call, even if it's not the best, and if everyone's just all in on it and they believe it'll work, it often works more than it would. If one person's like, I don't know about this, right? So I think NIP, like, even if maybe it's not the best play, which it probably is usually because they're playing so well, just because they're all going in on it and they're all following it, it makes it that much better. For us right now, like I said, like I think anything can work. So I think we're just focusing on ourselves. I think if we, play better and play our game, I think we can beat them, obviously. But I think it really just comes down to us playing our best. I think if they play their best game and we play their best game, anyone can win.
And of course, we appreciate Random Noob sitting down with us and sharing some of his thoughts heading into this one. And one thing I think that was important that he brought up is we need to play our best game against NIP to win. And a follow-up question I had sort of asked him was, do you think you guys are playing your best Paladins at the moment? Of course, coming off a break, we interviewed him on Wednesday prior to the game, so he didn't have necessarily a gauge at the moment to go off of, but he seemed confident in the way the team was performing. In Timber Mill, that's an interesting place to go to start things off here. Depending on who picked this one first, I guess it would be NIP.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Since
that's
we talked to
different.
them. Yeah. Timber Mill, what does Timber Mill maybe bring out?
Timber Mill snipers.
Yeah.
Ash is pretty good on the map because she can dash and make that play into the back line, get that ult onto the high ground. It's mainly comes down to snipers and whoever gets the good flankers. Flankers are a big thing because, of course, they have snipers as well. So.
Right. Does that, in this case, then maybe bring Eevee to a bit of a higher priority in this case?
Eevee specifically, yes. Maeve, she is finding her way in the meta, but against snipers, she does fall off sometimes. So Eevee is very good on this map, especially with that Strix ban. Strix is the tried and true counter of the snipers to Eevee. Kinessa struggles a little bit, so I think Nip might be looking for that. And
this is interesting as well. Of course, with Genos getting banned out and Strix getting banned out, that opens up a lot of different things, namely Khan and Atlas still on the board. And this is an interesting spot for Envy to be in. I sort of talked with Evan about this yesterday. If you're second pick, so they're going to prioritize the Kinessa now in this case, but NIP have the ability, I was going to say to go Atlas Khan, but Eevee then becomes the next highest priority to deal with that Kinessa. And they're going to get the Maeve. What do you see? We've now seen the double flank, namely Eevee and Maeve composition. I guess this would be the fourth time in 2 days here, or third time in 2 days, I should say, maybe fourth time total. What does Eevee Maeve bring to the table?
Dive on Kinessa. That's the biggest thing.
That's what they need to do.
That's why I think that's why they banned Strix, because Kinessa is the more diveable tank. Even though she has the teleport, Strix can fight off those flankers. Kinessa really can't. She can't get that insta shot. She doesn't have that pistol. So I think they're just gonna look to go in. They might look for an Ashe later. I think they want something to dive with. They don't have the Genos with the two flankers though, so that hurts them a little bit on Nip, but it's still a pretty good pick into the Kinessa.
Absolutely, and two of the best champions at the moment and doing exactly what they need to do, diving on the Kinessa. And I kind of want to pick your brain. Of course, having a support up here is very nice. With Grover not being around as much, has Damba really become that #1? And then where do you maybe see the next 2 or 3?
I see right now Genos is mainly #1.
Oh, right, Genos, of course.
Yeah, Genos I see #1, and then it falls to Damba typically. If your team has if you're last picking a Dom, but your team has a lot of CC, maybe you don't look for him. With the recent buff to Fury, you've seen her played a decent bit now with Cherish. So she kind of falls in place.
You win or you die.
That's where you see. You see Genos, Damba, and Fury with the same thing. But the Leanne, that's...
Whoa.
And the Cassie hover.
You ready for this?
I was going to say there's no way they do it. So triple DPS is one thing, but quad DPS for NIP. Of course, they'll be getting a healer with their 5th pick. I mean, if you're Envy right now, maybe what are you thinking? Where might you go with these last 2 picks, seeing what's on the other side?
They're in a tough spot right now.
That is...
You of course, you probably want the Barrack over the Anar because he is more squirmy on point.
Yeah.
The DPS can't dive him as well as an Anar because Anar, after her wall CD, she has nowhere to go. They have to pick up the Barrack, and maybe you can't take the Leanne against the flankers.
Yeah.
Leanne's a good counter.
I mean, it's hard to nail down. It's
actually very difficult.
Yeah.
Like, Nip put Envy in a very difficult situation, but you really have to perform on the 4 DPS to make it work. It's been done before. On G2 we did a few times, on specifically Timbermill and Splitstone.
Sure.
It can be done, but it's a very difficult and execution-based comp to pull off.
Well, it looks like they're going to go potentially Bomb King hovering it as well as the Barrack that you had sort of mentioned. NIP will be down to... I would hope a support.
Yeah,
instead of
5
anything
DPS
else.
would be something different.
5
I tell
DPS
you.
would be pretty absurd.
Furia.
It's going to be the Furia. All right, so some thoughts here. What does Envy need to do to beat a quad DPS composition?
It just comes down to surviving. Nip will have to overextend to get a kill. So when they overextend, Envy has to point that out immediately, call that target, and they have to focus and kill it. If they don't focus the flankers who's overextending, they're going to lose this game.
And on the opposite side, quick thoughts on NIP. What do they need to do to win? Just overwhelm Envy?
Yeah, they just have to find somebody, overwhelm them. Like the Bomb King. The Bomb King's an interesting pick.
Right.
He's going to be in like one of the small rooms on the side.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, I'm excited to see how this one plays out. Quad DPS, I haven't seen that yet. Let's send it down to the casters and see how it looks.
Man, those are some handsome gentlemen up there on the desk, and I'm just heading out of here because who cares about what's going on with me? I'm just on the way home.
I'll be
and
on
that's
the
just,
way.
whoa. Now I may be turning back because that looked like something I want to get to know.
Oh, I had the opposite effect.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's something
Paul's not doing it for you?
I'm going to turn the other way.
Well, he's not everybody's cup of tea.
But then I see quad DPS and I get pulled right back in.
Oh, man. Your heart, your mind telling you no,
You
but your
gotta
body,
be there for it.
It's telling you yes. My body's telling me
Ooh, boy.
absolutely with quad DPS. That rhymed. I didn't expect it to. That was not on purpose, but it gets the job done, I guess. Cherish here with Bird. Gore, really, we just have to see how this is going to play out.
Now, this is something I'm glad they finally did it because every single time I feel like I've talked to NIP over, 10 weeks.
Yeah.
I feel like they always mention quad DPS as a strat, and then they never do it. They always talk about it and then never actually pull it out.
Yeah.
Now they're pulling it out, and that was something I was saying to you. Like, even in the interview, they were just like, they were sitting there preparing for it, and they were specifically saying, don't say a word during the interview that this is happening.
Random Noob gets a big kill on the Bonker, but here's the thing. Alex gets a big pickup on a Rock Monkey. That's a kill that just can't be avoided. Random Noob doing a great job hanging in the cubbies here, but look at this. Diggy Dog finds another. He was poked out early in this fight, and now they lost their Bomb King, but 66% and counting here on the point for Envy.
I mean, that's going to be their strength, right? They have 2 front lines. They can just stand there. You're going to have to be able to find some big kills to be able to make the difference. And what better way to get big kills than big game? But unfortunately, it's not enough to lock them down. That's the biggest thing I think they're going to be lacking is, point presence because they have no front line. And the fact that you have to overwhelm so overwhelmingly that it almost hurts if you just can't get that first kill.
I think if you just, oh, wow, this is a lot of pressure here. Mr. Hayes finds Alex. Envy calling the bluff. Not really worried about it. I think the BK was a great adjustment here. Rock's got to hit this shot. Really good plays. And Random Noob, he's going to find Bird. That's all the healing gone. This is going to be very difficult for a Tenor to maintain.
You know, I think no matter how this game goes, I think we can say, well, at least NIP tried it.
Yeah.
Not sure this is going the way they wanted to, although it's still an interesting amount of kills and still an interesting amount of point control coming down from him. Bittner going to be really low there, 33 health, gets taken care of, and I think that's the big thing. Even with 2 flanks, no one's been able to get rid of this Kinessa just yet.
Well, a lot of respect from Envy, and I think that's what worked. Bird stays alive with the Inflame. Simply to, like I said, just stay alive. I think it was worth. I'm not quite sure, though. They'll at least be able to help out Alex if he gets back in time, but he's just so far in. The overextension Vex was talking about, Envy have made him pay so far.
So For anyone who is witness to this right now, last time I remember seeing a quad DPS was G2 versus Splice, and I think it was like Summer Split last year on like Fish Market. And Fish Market's a map where pretty much anything works, right?
I believe it was Renegades, to be honest.
It might have been Renegades either. It was just I was G2 versus someone who's not good at the time.
It was,
and they slaughtered them is the best way. But it was Fish Market, and again, Fish Market in my mind, kind of anything works. If you're a better team, no matter what you play, you're going to win that map.
Yeah.
But the thing is for Timber Mill, I feel like Envy, save for the Bomb King, like every single one of those champions is awesome on this map. Bomb King's still good on it. It's just not going to be my go-to, right? I think Eevee would take my blaster presence over him. But the fact that you see Envy get a Kinessa, you see them get an Atlas, you see all this stuff come through, and you're like, let's still run quad DPS. It's pretty impressive to me.
Oh, man.
To stick to your guns that hard.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what gave him that impression. They're using kind of this Maeve as a front line, right? And I think that's important. Sorry, the Eevee as a front line. But Alex can't do it all. And Tolki, I mean, this is just math, kind of, the amount of shields, the amount of health. It's going to be very, very hard. And execution heavy is an understatement, I think, Gore. Diggy Dog isolated. That's the push. 2-0. I mean, they have to play perfectly and then some in order to win this.
Well,
it almost feels like, was it worth the risk?
Yeah.
And was the pay? It doesn't feel
it's
like
that risk
that
versus
accessible.
Reward is like 99-1, right? Like there's a chance you win this game, and it is the most mind-boggling thing that has happened in the PPL.
Absolutely.
And then there's the other odds that are, well, you probably lose this game, and Envy just start the set up 1-0. And I was telling you before this set that if this goes 1-1 at the very beginning, I think we could see anything out of this set. If it goes to the point where NIP are 3-0, I think that's done and dusted. I think they do not lose 3 in a row. Whether or not it goes 2 more maps or 3 more maps is going to be up to them.
Yeah.
But I think if Envy can start off with a 1-0 here and then keep moving that pace, this is a great momentum builder is what I would really call it.
I think so. I think I think Envy are going to take this one no problem here. Unless something incredible happens.
Catastrophic.
Rock Monkey already with a big lead, taking Bonker down instantly. Tolki on the point. Who's going to stop that? I mean, this is a bit of a collapse. I think NIP will just be fine to go back to the drawing board. Oh, man, ambitious ideas, but Envy not playing around today.
I mean, they're just locking them down. And I think this is about all they need, really, because they're not... I mean, you said execution heavy, right? Like they're not finding the kills, they're not winning the fights. And when you're not doing either of that in a lineup that literally requires it, well, these front lines just get to chill on the point.
Absolutely,
happily.
yeah.
Like,
I mean,
this
seriously.
is like Tolki's dream.
Yeah,
he's like,
it really
cool,
is.
Got control, baby.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's kind of hard to see that Atlas and see that Barrack and really isolate them from DPS. I mean, because they have a lot of DPS, if you're going to talk about that. Just the raw numbers and what they mean. I know Cassie's great, but, man, at this point, Tolki, that's about as effective a hunt down as we've seen any of the other DPS on NIP do. This was just a bit of a gamble, and like I said, I think it's not going to – this game is over in all intents and purposes. And they're going to find out in Game 2 what they have to do to kind of bring it back.
I kind of like the idea that this is like the... I mean, this is probably, arguably, in a set like this, the only safer time than to try something out like this would be if you're up 3-0. But, I mean, 1-1, you're coming into a game. It is incredibly even, I guess, overall. Pull out the quad DPS, see whether it comes through, whether it works. If it doesn't, then in Game 2, you can kind of right your wrongs. You can go back to standard. You can change whatever. But, like... you can put that in your book of, okay, well, we tried it. We can figure it out.
Yeah. Kinessa activates the ult as well. Big-time stuff here. Rock Monkey looking for another one. Very unique style and start to Game 1. NIP certainly keeping people on their toes, I'll say that, but Random Noob has been excellent. Rock Monkey's not missed a lot of shots, but here you go. A little bit of a stabilization. The payload is moving. Tolki isolated. That's a kill. Alex finds another. Can they zone far enough? That's the thing that's been difficult. Envy playing so smart, backing off, giving a ton of respect to this composition. And you have to give them credit to that. A lot of people would think, oh, we got this, but they're backing off, saying, you guys are threats.
I just, on a Friday afternoon, did not expect this, I think, of all things.
Seriously.
and I'm waiting for the pin to drop. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it feels like something is just lurking and waiting, but I can't get a finger on what. It might be this King Bomb that's coming through, but honestly, it just feels like it might be Envy. He used the teleporter to get up to the high ground.
wow.
A nice ice block keeps you safe.
Wow.
But I still like Random Noob's mind.
And Tenor playing great. Oh my God, playing better. That's the amount of damage. It's really hard to just understand is coming. Yeah, big game, and then you obviously have just the Inflame, which is 30% more. Even for all the faults of this composition and all the strengths potentially of it, NIP managing to extend this game a little longer. Have we closed the book too soon?
This is it. This is the pin drop. It's them getting a point. Them not getting 4-0'd. I think staying alive in this game, the longer it goes, I think the better DPS are. That's one of the things I think it's kind of an odd way to look at it, but it's you get your cauterizes, you get your wreckers. Like, you get the things that are going to be the counters to your front lines, to your supports. And admittedly, if you're looking, well, here's a 1v1 in DPS, here's a 1v1 in DPS.
Good point.
Then here's a 2v1 in frontline or a 2v2 in frontline. Like, as long as we can shut down their healing, shut down their shields, this might be better for NIP if it goes to be a long 3-3 game.
There's truth to that, and in fact, one of the many thoughts that we've had, and we've had all the Twitter discussions and conversations around it and the history of Paladins that you could have when Bird was really pioneering and really saying triple tank, triple tank, triple tank, to the point where got a lot of people frustrated, got a lot of his fans frustrated, but they realized that, you know what, listen, winning 3-3, winning 4-3 with a triple tank is the goal. You want to just basically outlast people and try to build things up like Cauterize to even it up with items so that you can shut down their healing, you can outlast them. But the same goes for a lot of damage. If you can build up enough Wrecker, you can break down these shields, you can really hurt the sustain of a comp like this. And at this point, I'm not sure if they're going to get a chance to do it. Big headshots, big rewind, full health for Alice.
I mean, they're setting themselves up, and Alex is just trying to do whatever they can. Although Barrick, precariously low right now, still going to be getting some good healing, still has his own shielding. But if they can lock him down, they get rid of Tulki. If you get rid of Rubu, then it becomes, well, one, a huge skewed fight in favor of NIP. But you got to be able to do something. That's going to be a good kill.
Great kill.
But, I mean, you're losing Bittner in the process, who's, I would say, arguably one of the best champions you've picked.
I think Noob's playing too good for this to work, and it's really because Alex has gotten Rock Monkey, I think, 2 to 3 times in these early objectives. But Tulki, oh my God, they're not going to touch? Dread Serpent, oh my God. Well, that was a weird way to end it. Dread Serpent saves the day, gets him off the point. No overtime, no chance, says Envy. Nice try, but bring some big boy strats next time.
That, I genuinely just don't know what to say because
not much. To be honest.
Like, so much of that was just so different from what is normal and what is different from what is, well, winning, I guess is the best way to word it, because quad DPS, it's been tried the once. We can say it. We've got another split with it in there.
Well, if they had Genos, I think it might have worked a little bit better. Just so high execution. A little bit rough start for NIP. They go down one map to Envy. Let's send it back to the desk. Get ready for game 2.
And that's not something I think any of us have been able to say up to this point in this split, is that NIP are now down 1-0. I mean, if we have said it, it's escaping my mind at the moment. Of course, the quad DPS, the big talking point here from NIP, did not work out at all. I mean, that was a 4-1. What maybe did you see that caused the quad DPS not to be that effective?
Well, one thing Rain Day just noted on is without the Genos, the Envy banning the Genos was huge.
Sure.
I think the quad DPS works really well. I think Furia, with her new buffs, can keep those DPS sustained because one cherish is enough for a DPS.
Right.
So it's decent, but the Genos damage buff would help finish those kills. It was just tough without the Genos to execute it properly.
Absolutely, and notably, Random Noob, Rock Monkey, Rubu. I mean, honestly, everyone on Envy seemingly had a pretty good game this time around. Tulki 3-4, but he was kind of the recipient of a lot of front-loaded damage there from NIP. And this is interesting. We had sort of been talking off cam here while we were in game, and you had sort of mentioned how Envy are kind of a momentum team. I mean, if they get rolling, if they start winning some of these games, maybe for the first time things could be out of NIP's hands. Sort of, do you see that to be the case, or are Envy kind of a mental team in that, in good and bad? If they start winning some of these games, could things really start to snowball in their favor?
I think if they go down a couple, really, then they start tumbling. This win is going to help them, though, overall with their mentality. Like I was telling you, NA in general has always been a momentum-based region, and it's going to help envy that Nip decided to pull out a 4 DPS comp the first game of their set. It's a boost for Envy.
No, absolutely. And then obviously you're friends with all these guys, but what are your thoughts on pulling it out right now, right off the bat? Is that, in your eyes, maybe more of a mid-set sort of pick?
Yeah, I think you take that in the middle if you're down or you want to keep momentum. You throw them off guard. They're already down. They see 4 DPS. They're like, what are they going to do? Their minds are already fucked because when you start losing, you forget things. You forget how to play things. You have to mentally reset yourself. I think Nip, just the top team, 10-0. They're like, let's just do this first game. See how this goes. Yeah.
I mean, nobody's beaten them up to this point, but maybe beating themselves even a little bit here in map number 1. And again, that's their map pick. So now it's really in Envy's court. They get to pick, and they pick Shattered Desert. Is this a map that you would say Envy are pretty good on?
Yeah, they like the specifically the double flank and the double aggressive tank. They like going in on this map. This is what they enjoy the most. They pick the Mave, they pick the Eevee. They usually have Ashe on this map, and sometimes they take the Barrack too. I think that's the comp they're going to go for, is the heavy aggression comp, just to get in Nip's face and keep that momentum rolling.
Talk to me a little bit about the Mave, because we've seen her in, honestly, most of the games up to this point. If it's not Eevee, it's Mave. It's sort of seemingly one or the other. Tolkien gives us the eyes. What is it about Mave that makes her so valuable right now?
She has a pretty decent burst with her Prowl Legendary, and she can proc it twice. She can Prowl, hit 2 daggers, 1,000 damage, hit 2 daggers, 2,000 damage. Then she can Q, reset it, and then another 2,000 damage in very fast session. Also, her pounce getting around the map, she's super mobile, and she has an extremely good setup ultimate in her blinds, in her Midnight. It blinds everybody, and if, say, you have an Ashe on your team, the Ashe can dive in off that, and they have no idea what's going on.
Is that something, maybe you see a Mave come out on one side? This is something Evans like to highlight as well. Does that maybe open the door to a Cassie pick on the opposite side, given how Scout sort of interacts with Midnight?
Yeah, typically when somebody has a Mave, you want to try to get that Cassie. Sometimes you can if you have like a tank you want to prioritize, but Cassie is so good in this meta right now. Big game is so good. Impulse has even made its way back too in a couple games.
Yeah, we've seen Impulse. Yeah. That's right. We've seen Impulse a couple times through here. Maybe talk to me about that. What are some of the decisions? Why might you go Impulse instead of the heavy damage that we often see in big game?
So say you're playing against a Khan and a Nando. They have shields, and big game won't really hit them. It'll hit their shields most of the time. If they have Khan, Nando, and they have a flanker, because Impulse is the best against flankers. Yeah. So that's usually when you run Impulse, is they have a shield tank, they have a flanker. You want to burst down that flanker. That's usually when you run it, because Cassie can play that kind of off DPS role and hunt that flanker all the time with that Impulse.
Well, no flankers on the board just yet. Tyra being hovered here for NIP. That's been a favorite not only of NIP, but I think a lot of teams. Genos is gone. You still get the damage amp with the hunting party from the Tyra. Of course, they're going to be shielding their 5th pick for a bit of a flex option here. Of course, Alex comfortable on many of the champions that could come through in that 5th spot. Envy are going to have to reveal their hand here, though. Don't have a healer. Vivian now getting hovered for NIP, and of course, that's something Alex is comfortable with. If they end up going that route, could be very big for him, and this is a much more standard lineup, I would say, now for NIP. 2 tanks, healer, Vivian. I imagine another damage dealer coming in as their final pick here. If you're Envy, of course, Genos is gone, Damba is gone. We're going to have to see their healer here. As a healer, what would you like to play if you have Envy's comp? Does Furia
I would
press
pick
the right
Furia.
buttons?
Yeah. Furia, she just outperforms all the other supports under her, like the Saris, the Ying. There are times where you can pick Ying over Furia just because the ultimate's so good. Yeah. But Furia, the amount of damage, the amount of utility she brings with her stun, Furia is just the pick here. She has high burst healing, high burst damage. It should help against the Ashe flank. You know, you could at least put some damage on him. Yeah. But the Eevee also is a really good pickup for that Vivian. Eevee gets on that Vivian really easily, and she's a more stationary target. She's a slower target. So Eevee hits her shots pretty confirmably on Vivian.
And of course, the Furia ultimate, as we kind of talked about as well, is kind of a go button in a way. The moment the ultimate comes through, that's when the team gets ready to pounce. Andro, okay, I was going to say we got trolled a little bit there. Andro nearly getting locked in. It is going to end up being the Mave. If you're Envy, what's your win condition here against NIP?
They need to have a good go button on the Vivian, possibly the Damba. They need to Atlas Wall, get that movement speed, get the Inflame going, and have Random Noob in a good position as Eevee and a really good dive. They need to combo these different things they have for movement speed and aggression, like the Inflame, like the wall. And if they kill that Vivian or Damba, they win the game.
I imagine so. Do you like what NIP have brought this time around?
I like their draft a lot more than last draft, I'd say.
Absolutely. What do they need to do to beat Envy this time around?
Khan needs to hit that ult Anar. I think Anar is going to be the biggest ult target unless he flicks and hits Eevee in midair. Anar is easy to grab. It's kind of harder to throw off on this map, but they should be able to grab Anar and throw her off the map and get rid of somebody.
Well, it's time to see if Envy can win another one. NIP, they're down for maybe the first time this season. Let's send it down to Evan. Let's send it down to Gore and get into this one.
Down but not out, Dave.
Wait, but which one is he sending it to?
Yeah, send it down to both of us. Wait, you didn't clarify that. Can we send it back up to the desk, get some clarity, so he can send it back down to us? I mean, if he said the casters, we get it.
Yeah. Well, it's like if we got a package to this building and it said to Evan and then immediately afterward said
to Gore,
I'd be like, wait, but who?
Yeah.
I guess we just have to open it at the same time.
We do. And by the way, guys, this is an example of Gore bullying Dave yet again.
This is intense
cyberbullying.
cyberbullying.
Not that cyberbullying doesn't exist, because it does.
Oh, no, it is real. And
it's just
actually
probably
catastrophic.
Yeah.
But
it's just Gore is not the one doing it.
Jokes.
Not the one doing it. That's the jig up. Gore's not a bully if you didn't realize it. However, Vivian is. Because at this point, as Gore cracks
I tried to crack my knuckles and it actually
looks
just hurt my fingers.
Even kinder during that process. Tolkien is standing tall against this opportunity in chaos. Tenor getting taken down by Random Noob's Eevee, and Random Noob makes it out with just a sliver of health.
I mean, this has been monumental so far. I mean, being able to come here, again, the first map, trying out the quad DPS, not quite having it work.
Yeah,
Vivian is the one, I think, that catches my eyes the most for this one because she doesn't scream Shattered Desert to me just yet. Maeve, though, is kind of the equalizing factor. But it just feels like NIP they started off on the wrong foot, and they haven't been able to find that switch just yet.
Well, I mean, there's the contested picks of this Eevee. Obviously, Alex, a very good Eevee. He's really developed these blasters. And also Rubu on Atlas 2 games in a row. Envy just doing great drafting. Obviously, they were gifted a little bit of that in the last map with the quad DPS. None of the front lines were prioritized. But at this point, man, huge stuff.
How many times have we seen NIP with a killless point fight?
Once, and it's right here.
And it's right here. Like, this is not a scenario I think I've seen them in, and, well, the split, as it comes down to it. I mean, this
has been 10 games, dude.
Been ridiculous. But, I mean, you were saying yesterday, you know, that they had spent a couple of, like, we were on the desk when we were coming into the set, that, you know, they had spent 2 weeks, I believe, that they weren't here playing. They were back home. And even though there's pouring time into the game, it definitely feels like the meta has shifted pretty drastically away from what they were playing. And I'm wondering, is this
I won't go that far.
Impactful?
I won't go that far. I know Anar is a little bit more prevalent than she was. I still feel Atlas, Khan, Genos are power picks in general.
Yes.
And Monty still, they were doing well during that time. But it is interesting that you bring that up, Core, because where Envy took that break when they were on the down slump and now have gotten much better, NIP take that break, and you talk about Renegades. What did they expose yesterday in NIP that, I mean, everyone was watching that? It's a 2-0. Renegades, in many ways, maybe played one of the most pivotal, really roles in Paladins all split leading up to this MSI because they exposed something in a team that was not exposed before in the way to attack NIP, and that when they're under pressure, they are less effective than when they're putting you under pressure.
Yeah.
No one thought to walk up to Goliath and punch him in the nose and see, will he actually stand up after this? We're finding out that he's a little more wobbly than we thought. Now, this is just, you know, somebody on the rise and a team maybe getting shaken. I don't think this set is over by any means.
Oh, no.
But the fact that NIP are 2-0 down in under 4 minutes and haven't gotten a kill, ladies and gentlemen, this is surprising.
And it shakes out. They were the ones that wanted Timbermill. They wanted that strat of the quad DPS. Like, that's something they came in today wanting to try. This is where Envy wanted to go, so it makes sense that they're going to be doing well on it. And, of course, they're getting another draft that I would argue is exactly what they would have wanted. If they go down 2-0, NIP are more than likely going to shake up map 3 and go back to what they've been good with. But Envy are heavy momentum based. Like, this is one of those things that you're playing with fire in the middle of a set.
Absolutely. Great setback there. Excuse me, not setback, but just being able to rewind time, get that second chance. But it's still Tenor and Bird who find a couple of kills. Random Noob finds a big one, and Rock Monkey gonna roll away. Are you kidding me? He's still around the corner. He's doing damage. Will it have mattered? That's the question. Random Noob now very, very low. Can he pick off one of those kills? Alex reads him like a book. Says, I saw that movie before. It was better the first time. And now they're in control.
And that is what they needed. Just a little reprieve, a couple of kills, and then something to get them on the point. With comeback mechanic, they can hold on to it pretty well. They're going to either force a setback or a rewind, a second chance here to be able to keep them going. Anara not going to be able to touch in time. They get the point.
Yeah.
They keep themselves alive. And that's, I think, what NIP need right now is just to keep themselves afloat in this game. And that's actually in their interview. They said one of the big things Renegades taught them yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we can play from behind.
Yeah.
That's something they hadn't really had to do all split.
Absolutely. Like, that taught NIP a lot about themselves. They taught about their weaknesses. Not everyone is here to see it. And I always have these stories around, you know, NIP and what I see from them. But they, because they're European and they don't have a home to go to, just like Envy, have to spend a lot more time at the studio. Otherwise, it's like the Staybridge, you know, or, you know, any of these other apartment places where they end up staying at. So the idea is they were really conversing. And it wasn't an argument, but it was what the heck happened in that set with Renegades. And I think they really took a deep look at it. I'm not sure if they've solved it, but I do know that it was not the usual, haha, yeah, we're dope. It's like, what the heck went on?
What were we doing? Why did we let that happen? And how do we never let that happen again? That kind of discussion comes through. And that was something that was very much the air. Like, post-game interview, they were kind of jovial as they always are. But afterwards, you could kind of see the serious tone that took over where it was just like, no. We that was not a clean set for us. That was not something that we're going to spend our time laughing about. And I think that's kind of what this is signifying in my mind. Like, Envy are playing incredibly well right now.
True.
NIP have to go back to what they were doing weeks ago.
Yeah.
They have to play at that level with the knowledge of what happened yesterday and how exactly they were able to clean that setup.
And you have to also just look at the fact that these teams are prepared for one another.
Yeah.
And maybe NIP focusing on other things, that preparation, less about Envy, more like, guys, what are we doing? And then let's also consider we're playing against Envy. Envy really just had a lot easier of a time being able to kind of go and be in that driver's seat yesterday as well. So they've just been kind of sticking to the plan, so to speak, following Google Maps here. And it's just taking them right where they want to go.
Here, though, you're getting exactly what you want out of NIP, which is exactly the aggression they've brought in the past, the aggression they brought yesterday, the aggression of locking down Envy. Even if it's just for a little bit. Like, trying to tie this up. Try to get in here 2-2. Try to just showcase to yourselves that, you know what, we can have a really, really bad round into a really, really good round.
Right. And that's what they're looking for. Big-time stuff here.
Oh, no.
Inflame popped up. Tolkien. Rock Monkey's going to steal a kill as well. No stolen Penta today, but Envy, they at least get themselves a 3-1, an extra point on the defense. That's where defense points stop. And at this point, they're going to be trying to close this one out.
40-6 win-loss for everybody here on NIP.
Not bad, kid. Not bad.
I guess we can technically make that 7 because coming into the and now after the first map, it's going to go up 1. Yeah. This map is kind of shaky onto where it's going to go, but Envy definitely seemed to be sitting in the driver's seat. There was a little bit where NIP leaned over and jerked the wheel away from him for a second. But,
absolutely.
They only veered the car. Envy's corrected it. And it's just whether or not they can stay on the path. If they're following Google Maps, as you said, or maybe they're going to go down where NIP say, no, trust me. Like, you need to, like, you know, 2 blocks down from the church, you take a left, and then you're going to see this. Like, the kind of instructions I grew up with.
Yeah, they asked the dude at the gas station, you know. Or they just let dad, you know, kind of drive around for 20 minutes without admitting that he doesn't know where to go. They should have asked for help a long, long time ago. Right now, NIP, they should have asked for help a long, long time ago in this point fight. Unfortunately, it never came. No one to ask except themselves. Mr. Hayes, it's a clean wipe. He gets the last one onto Alex, and it's looking like an Envy zone to win and go up 2-0.
And that is a good phrase for Envy, not a phrase I think NIP expected that we would have in our vocabulary to be able to throw out there.
My.
If Random Noob keeps playing like this, you're going to need to ban an Eevee because he's just looking incredible, and
Watch
I don't
out.
see a reason for him to stop going to it. Same thing can be said for Rubu with the Atlas. Another good shot right there. I think Alex gets the touch, gets the overtime
That's
with a nice
huge.
wall and a nice couple of kills. Might be able to stall
That's
out
huge.
NIP.
Alex might have just saved the game for them, at least extended it, because it allowed Dicky to get back on point.
big.
And Team Envy were overextending. They put everything into that, but the Mave, the Eevee, they almost give you just that guaranteed touch because they're so wiggly. Fast cap here. We're not done yet, ladies and gentlemen. I think this should be an NIP cleanup. I don't know if they have enough time on Envy.
And that's the glory. I even thought, because immediately after you get the touch,
And that's the glory.
and the first
they
thing
are
that
on it.
came to my mind was, well, there's a wall there as well to try and block the shoulder bash. Envy are going to be able to get back to touch, but they have to fight
Wait
for the
a second.
recap. They get rid of Alex. This could be big.
I mean, the crazy thing is they have a Mave, yeah, but they
There's
also
the
have an
inflame.
Eevee. And here you go. If you get a nice setback here, it could be over. Envy came back after losing it. Now about to get it one more time. That shield is not going to withstand the damage from
Yeah.
Rock Monkey. It's a 2-0 lead for Envy over NIP.
Comeback mechanic, one tick short for NIP there. If it had been a little faster, they could have been able to close down. But Envy leading it up 2-0. You can kind of tell, I think, NIP not
Wow.
expecting to be put in this situation. Even with the quad, like, I feel like you throw out quad DPS and you're like, okay, if this one doesn't go our way, whatever. Then the next time you get serious again, and then all of a sudden you're like,
Then you lose.
"Ooh, we lost that one too.
It's rough.
What are we going to do now?
What do they do? Well, I know two gentlemen who are very educated to talk about this. The one on the left particularly. I don't know about that Vex guy. Let's send it back to the desk and see what they have to say.
Well, technically, he's on my left, so I think
Yeah.
that kind of counts for it. But we were talking again. NIP going down, I can't remember if that's happened or not before. It doesn't happen often. But going down 2,
Never
I think that
happened.
has never happened in
Yep.
this one. Envy now, seemingly against all odds, are 2 wins away, not only from beating NIP, but taking a 4-0. NIP, I mean, would you say going down, or sort of game 3, you're down 2-0, is game 3 sort of do or die, given that if you lose again, it's a 4-game stretch that you need to swing?
I think game 3 will be do or die for Nip because the game 1, they tried something, they could blow that off. Game 2, that's Envy's map pick. They're like, we can blow this one off too as their map pick. But this is their map pick. They're going to come out with a comp they feel comfortable on because they just lost 2 in a row. So if they lose this, I think this could just be a 4-0.
The closest we've seen to a full reverse sweep actually was Envy on the losing side. They were up 3-1 against Na'Vi. Na'Vi went on to win 3 straight there. But 4 straight, I don't think we've seen that done yet this season. What would you say worked so well for Envy here in this game? Obviously, Rubu having a big impact on this one, but NIP, it was, 4 minutes into the game, they got their first kill.
Yeah. 440, like the first 2 on the push in the point fight, they didn't get a single kill.
Yeah.
It took 4 minutes and 40 seconds, 2 points in the game to finally get a kill, and that just can't happen.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest things was actually Random on Eevee.
Yeah.
Random was popping off that game, and Random on Eevee specifically was insane. I think Rubu made a lot of space for him, but Random, when he has that Eevee, he is just so strong on it.
And we mentioned pregame that Rock Monkey and the Cassie is kind of a frightening thing to go up against. Would you say, actually, this is an interesting question Gormizer levied. Do you now maybe even start to consider banning out the Eevee against Random Noob?
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
I think you look to either pick it away from him or ban it away from him. I think it's actually been that big of an issue. We were thinking that yesterday as well. The Eevee was a problem in our set, and we were trying to find ways to deal with it. It's not that easy to deal with it.
Yeah, right.
Because there's so many good picks in the meta right now. The meta is so... it can fluctuate.
Yeah, right.
There's so many good picks. Everything is
It's a
viable.
healthy meta. Right.
Exactly.
It's a very healthy meta,
So,
and he shifted
hard.
to the Bomb King a good bit as well. Had maybe some mixed results on him yesterday. Of course, Genos Atlas being banned here, back to a little bit of normalcy there. Makoa is Envy's first ban, and this is something interesting that Evan and I sort of talked on, in that if you are the second pick and the first pick bans out Genos, now NIP have to choose, I guess it would be maybe a Khan in this case, but then there's still, Torvald not banned out. That's the one that escapes when Tyra gets picked here. But now Envy, I was going to say they could pick the Khan, and they have one more high priority pick here. It's going to be the Bomb King. So Eevee's still on the board here, but NIP, blaster-wise, have kind of tended to go Pip on a map like this.
Yes.
But you do see Torvald come through here. What are you thinking now, seeing Torvald on NIP's side?
I think for starters, Envy taking Bomb King was really smart because it's Jag. Torvald and Bomb King on Jag is almost unstoppable at times. So they had to take the Bomb King, and it's a pretty good counter to Torvald.
Sure.
I'm honestly not 100% what they're going to pick here because there's not a lot of good pockets left, especially on a map like Jaguar Falls. The Cassie's a good pick. Cassie's a very undervalued pocket target because she does really well. I think they're going to take that Pip later as well. So I'm pretty interested to see what Nip finishes with here.
And of course, Envy, okay, seemingly with letting the Pip go through, given that they picked Bomb King second. A little more scared maybe of Bomb King Torvald than they will be of the Pip Torvald. But we've seen moments where Bittner can take an entire game over on the Pip with some very good play on that end.
Especially on this map.
Right.
This map,
right, above all else, I think I casted a 3-man Evil Mojo that he had that was wild, taking games over. Always an X factor when he gets on that Pip. One of the teams that's very comfortable with going that direction, so still on the board here for them. Nara and Furia being hovered for Envy. So what do you think, if they do lock in this Furia, about them prioritizing her over the Damba in this case?
So there's a couple interesting things, one smaller, one bigger. One, they have a Nara, Khan, Bomb King, so they have a lot of crowd control.
Yeah.
So Nip is going to buy Resilient, so Fear won't get that much value. Two, Furia is not forced to get many yellow cards, so she can go into that early record because she has high damage. That's one thing people undervalue about Furia is you can stop at Chronos 1. There's sometimes no reason to go Chronos 2 on her, especially when you're playing against the Torvald. You can get Wrecker and keep the shields off of him and the pockets.
And of course, the Bomb King interaction with the Fury ultimate, something that we've seen a few times over the past couple of days, just zooms through the map. And as a player, that's kind of scary to deal with. You just see a King Bomb flying at you. There's not really much you can do there.
No, nothing you can do. We pulled that out today.
Yeah, you did.
It's the Furia Bomb King combo. It's so fun. Like, Bomb King gets in there, he gets that movement speed, he gets that damage afterwards, so he keeps fragging. And the Shaolin also is a really good pick on this map against the Torvald. High burst, keeps that shield off, and can hit that stun. The map is very close quarters, and that stun can find those picks they need against that Torvald.
And then, of course, notably, Torvald, there's been, I think I would say, map number 2 on Shattered Desert. Both drafts were pretty straightforward as far as what both teams brought to the table. But NIP, of course, always shifting things up. In this case, are gifted a Torvald pick, if you want to refer to it as gifted, because of the Tyra ban and the Genos ban on the opposite side. Is Torvald enough in this case with Cassie and Pip to overtake Envy?
I don't think it is. I think the Torvald isn't doing too much here. It could pocket the Cassie. The Cassie can be decent at times, but the Bomb King and the Shaolin's way too much for the Torvald. Even the Khan. The Khan's high DPS if he gets record later on.
Right.
I think the Torvald can get shut down too early, and I think it's actually going to be on Bittner this game on Pip. If he can pop off, they can do something.
Well, he's going to need to do it if they don't want to go down 3-0. Yes, you heard me correctly. If they don't want to go down 3-0, Envy win map 1. They win map 2. Can they win map number 3? We're going to have to send it down to your casters to find out.
Well, I don't know, Gore. How do you feel about this?
I feel like this is one of those moments where you have to question who wants what more, right? Does NIP want another win more? Or does Envy want to be the guys that beat NIP more? You know what I mean? Like, that's where I think
Envy,
things come through. And
100%.
that, to me, means after 2 maps,
You're right.
while they might be downtrodden, I don't know if that's enough for NIP to start rallying behind. Maybe after 3, but
you're right.
Envy are definitely the ones I think my eyes are going to be on.
Listen, they want to go undefeated, but as far as first place, they've got that locked in the bag. You know, they've got the horses in the back on that one for sure. It's just Envy, they really are fighting for. It's not just are we back, it's yes, we're back and we beat the best. So now you could argue that we're the best again. And, you know, defending world champs, obviously they have it in them. It's the exact same roster. But this NIP team, let's put it this way. We're talking about Goliath, we're talking about Giants, maybe a sleeping giant here because they're finally getting some kills, and this is looking much more like the NIP of old.
This is you took it to NIP 2 games in a row.
Wow.
And now NIP is pissed.
Yeah.
And they are coming back with a vengeance. This is what I think it would look like. Again,
they're mad.
When you are in a position as a team, specifically as NIP, there's kind of 2 paths you can go down. There's the treat this like nothing happened, come into it like it's game day, whatever. Like, you know, you're kind of fueled by the fact that you just lost 2.
Right.
Or there's the, oh no, we're losing. What can we do now?
Yeah.
And like you get downtrodden, you keep yourself out of it. They're not the kind of team that gets themselves out of it and then stays out of it. And they might get in their own head, but after the set. They wait until after game day to let those feelings sink in.
They definitely know there's work to be done. Oh, big jumps. Look at that. Tenor takes the high route. Holy moly. That would be a nice min-max. Unfortunately, it just doesn't pay off. They get Rubu, but they end up losing more than they get. And that's going to result in a wipe here. Alex, big kill, not only saves Bird, but also takes Rock Monkey out. And NIP, very short-handed, but still have a member coming back in just a few moments.
It's actually really good for them that they got that first point, though, because the one thing that NIP have, and the one thing Vex was kind of alluding to, is just that the game, as it goes on, you get record 2 for a Shaolin and a Bomb King, and all of a sudden this Torvald isn't really doing anything anymore. Like, he's going to be able to make you take a couple more hits, but it's not going to be enough to make a big difference.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is the biggest thing. You need to deprive Envy of as many credits as possible for as long as possible.
I will say this. There's a lot of there's a few opportunities for the Hyper Beam to not have an impact, but there are a lot of good opportunities for it to have an impact.
Yeah.
Think Evil Mojo into 4 chickens flying off the map. That'd be fun. And I think they're a good enough team to use it and do that. I mean, you could see that it was very much in the minds of a lot of players playing against them yesterday. Renegades to time out these ults. They played this. They won it. It was a 3. It was a 4-3 again. You know, I believe it was a 4-3. It might actually have been a bigger win for them. But just incredible stuff. Potential for these ults. So far, they're just being used to kind of stabilize.
And I like that Envy are kind of back to what they were doing yesterday, where it's just like, you know what? Like, King Bomb is great. Team King Bomb can get you 3 kills. But yesterday and so far today, they're just like, throw it out there. Like, just go get a kill. Just go stun that guy and kill him. Like, that's really all you need. As long as it's 1-for-1, you're getting something out of it. And when it's someone like, you know, Diggy Dog, when it's someone like Bonker, when you're getting a frontline or a support, it's 100% worthwhile, because what are they going to do down that person, that crucial member to pushing things forward? Like, if you lose a DPS, you can still fight a 4v5.
Yeah.
You lose a frontline, it's a lot more difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. Grumpy Bomb, just the only thing stopping Alex from pushing, as well as a little bit of Rubo over onto Random Noob. Bubble clearly going in the favor of the Cassie. We weren't expecting that necessarily. We thought it might have been going a little bit more on to Tenor, and he usually does get the pockets, at least as far as the healing. But Bonker sticking with Alex. It's been a deadly combo, and look at that. They find a big kill. They're going to find another one here. Bonker getting credit for both. Diggy Dog gets low. Nice dodge there from the Pyre Strike, but Mr. Hayes, big-time defense there, will clean it up. He'll find 2, and that'll be a 1-1.
And this is, again, where things start to get dangerous. And when we come back in, like, looking at the items is where things are going to be crucial. Because with that round, with all those kills, Envy should be able to get some of the record 2s they want. They should be able to come in and deal with shields a little bit easier. Part of the reason, like, we've seen Vivian kind of on the rise, I would say, is dealing with Torvald and just shielding in general.
Yeah.
And even though they haven't gone for her, they still have Bomb King and Shaolin, who with Wrecker scale so incredibly well.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I mean, Vex had mentioned it. Khan, I'd even throw Furia in there. Like, I don't think Furia, well, I was about to say is going to, but Mr. Hayes even threw in a tier 1 on top of that. And that is how important it is to get it.
She does damage.
Kind of foregoing some of the cauterizes that you would normally expect.
They are.
Bird isn't the threat right now. It is Bonker.
Yeah. No, they absolutely are. They just want to get rid of the Torvald. That's the mentality. Risky play by Alex. He waited for a bubble. It was enough. Oh, my God. Beautiful use of the statue. And they were baiting that out because Khan, if you kind of use that overpower for a second, you can activate it and then be out of line of sight in certain areas. I think that was exactly why. 4 chickens here. And the Hyper Beam. They really did try to do it. And they do get 3 kills as a result.
That was 4 people in the middle of that is a Pip's dream. To come through, find that. Alex is going to be the one who gets the triple kill as Bittner comes through. I kind of wonder what you were going to say, but based on the laugh.
Well, it's what you said. It's a Pip dream.
It's a Pip dream.
It's a Pip dream to pull that off. You know, not a pipe dream, a Pip dream.
Oh, I didn't even mean to do that.
I know. It was tough.
Oh, that's even better.
I laughed at the idea because I thought, it's hard. It doesn't really come out auditorily, you know. You can't really hear it. I have to explain it, yeah.
Like Pip, parenthesis E, close parenthesis.
Exactly. There you go. Some might say it's
a good tweet for after this.
Good tweet for after this. Always got to remember what's a good tweet and what's not. Farm those likes, guys.
I was going to say, isn't that life? But not really.
Isn't that life? Farm likes.
I mean, in 2019, to some people.
To some people, absolutely.
That is life.
That is life. Some people even do it for a living. So
I will say I do have better days when my posts get more likes. So everyone from this point on, just like my posts, anything,
Gore,
even if it's me doing something
something right
stupid,
now.
which is 90% of my life, then like,
actually, freaking amazing tweet to just tweet. I like my day better when my tweets get more. When my tweets get more.
And
likes.
then that tweet blows up.
And that tweet is that's a viral tweet. That's got potential. Do it right now.
Do it right now.
I'll retweet it for you.
You told me to tweet right now, and I was just going to take a picture of us in the booth, meaning like, yeah, okay, cool, I did it, but
no, take a picture of us for sure. That way I can be a part of the viral sensation that is Cormiser here. Rubu and Tolki, they find a couple of kills while we're dabbling on our social media presence, and they're just trying to figure out their Jaguar Falls presence, which I think is a good idea. Envy on a defense. Yet again, NIP capturing, and now with a King Bomb, do you bet it? That's the question they're going to have to start answering. They have a Furia with the Inflame. That speed boost we've actually seen Virtus Pro utilize earlier today.
I don't know if they need the speed boost. It kind of depends on how they're going with it.
Ooh.
I feel like the speed boost from Furia is really good for beginning of the point fight. We want to get into you.
Yeah.
This kind of scenario is I'm going to King Bomb just to bonk you back a little bit so we can kind of keep ourselves afloat. Like, it's just to right the boat, not to tip theirs over.
Oh, good stun, and that was
Wow.
it. Bird says, let me make this easier for you. Can I serve you on a plate that's any hotter than this? Here's a napkin as well, fork and knife. Bird just beautiful stuff from the support. That might just do it. He's got a knockback. I think it'll be NIP 3-1. They've got a chance to get themselves back in this set.
Well, they've grabbed every point so far in the game.
Yeah.
So, arguably, going in 3-1, they should be able to close it out. And again, this is not the team that is the Renegades right now, where we're encountering several moments in the unfortunate scenario of seeing a 3-1 that turns into a 3-3 and a 4-3 against them. This is NIP, who I guess you worded it best. They know how to close out against any team, even if they have comeback mechanic. Like, that's not something that's going to factor into this as hard. But I think Envy, I mean, they saved their ults at the end there. I think they kind of recognized that things got out of hand. It was right after we saw Random Noob get stunned. That's when everything was like, okay, we're not winning this one. Let's just go for the next round.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's the big one right there, and I think Bird is the catalyst for a lot of it. He's a great player. They know they're trying to bait out this overpower, and now they're just going to say, you know, we're going to go into such an advanced position. We're going to get you there. Alex already found a big kill, though, and it looks like they may find another. Rubu gets out in time, and that's the resilience paying off big. Just level 1, maybe saves a life right there, but he goes down just a few seconds later. Mr. Hayes is over. It's about the stagger for Tolki, but he just says, I'm going to contest, get as much capture as possible, and then we're going to try to do this.
So if you ever wonder how powerful comeback mechanic is, Envy have 58% on the point. There was no point in that they were in control of the fight. It was just the fact that they had a front line that was standing there on the objective. It's now getting matched and passed by NIP.
They're letting the Inara through.
They're just looking good.
Well, I mean, you can, because it's just going to be Bird versus
What's
Tolki.
she going to do?
Can we see the epic 1v1 about to happen, please, between Bird? And she's actually just going to win. She's going to force him back. Inara's got some damage, but you know what? They've also allowed Random Noob now to get here. They trusted the Pip. Here's the King Bomb. What can it do? Tenor just hiding, kind of guessing. Random Noob goes early, and Tenor, he gets the value.
I mean, they come
and
in.
they get
That's all
it.
they needed.
What? Are you kidding me? What are you guys doing?
That is all Sulky. They come back, and it's such this meme, right? Because it's like, okay, yeah, we'll let the Inara through. What's she going to do? But Bird left the point, and Bittner turned around but wasn't killing him. And so Tolki's just like, cool, I'm just going to stand right here. Like, I'm on the objective. I'm going to get some shots over here. And he got that 58 to, like, 90. And then all they needed was that fight. Two eyes are looking at this Inara. Everyone can move forward. You get a King Bomb. I think NIP were counting their chickens before they hatched.
Yeah, I think literally. I also think that it was just a hilarious situation where the overpower, the Hyper Beam knocks off Rock Monkey and just sends him flying, and then the overpower grabs Torvald and just throws him flying across the. It's just like, of all people to just go flying, you realize Khan really puts a damper onto Torvald's day. He's usually the only guy who could do that trick at a party. Wouldn't that be awkward if you and some other dude like relied on this one magic trick to be cool at parties and you both did the same trick?
Do you want to? Okay, I have the ultimate team BM that you could pull off in Paladins now.
Okay.
I think
all right.
is hyper beam someone off the map, overpower them back onto the map, and then throw them again.
And then throw them off?
Just so they know.
It's a beautiful thing, man.
I don't think we'll ever see it. Torvald doesn't get through enough that we even get to see a hyper beam.
Why
off the map.
would you do that? in just a BM. It would be only BM.
That's we're winning for 3-0 right now. This payload's about to go in, and we just have to do it to him.
Oh, no! He got it stolen again 2 days in a row. The Pinta. Tanner just shaking his head. Diggy, I don't know if he said my bad, but I don't think he cares. I can't believe it. Tanner says, no way that'll happen again. And the next day, another person on his own team steals his damn Pinta.
This is how you lose teammates. This is how roster pockets.
This is the fall of NIP. We're watching
you
it
know
right
what?
now.
Maybe that's why they came in today so rough. Maybe there's just some unspoken tension about this Pinta stealing that is going on. NIP do not respect the kill streaks.
You know, the Pinta's on the point, I think, for a point fight. A little different than a Pinta that's
a defense.
on a defense.
Yeah.
You know, because everyone's wiping anyway. And that's where both of those did occur. So I will say they're not the ones to really get mad at. But it's just too funny, man. 2 days in a row. Tanner's like, give me a break.
And I feel like both of them in a game 3 as well.
Like, did you not learn? Did you not learn? Did you not want? Were you not there?
Maybe that's the kind of moment that everyone, well,
What a
like,
troll.
save for Bittner, who is the one who's probably frustrated with it.
Yeah.
The other 4 members need that laughing moment to break the tension, right? And that, like, maybe that's why they're doing it. That's what their goal is.
Well, I think you know what? You could tell these personalities of these guys because trolling Tanner was definitely the most optimal form of happiness for I think a lot of them there, instead of allowing him to get that Pinta, which would have just been the nice thing to do. But you got it. And the comment, so Bird actually gave the reasoning that you got to hit your shots. And he did miss an Amani Frostbolt yesterday, which cost him the Pinta. So Bird said, okay, you have to hit your shots, and you didn't, so that's fine. Does he miss here? Does he miss? That's what I need to know. No, he doesn't. So that's just rude.
Diggy's shot
and on Ash
came out
too.
like literally a 0.1 of a second before, and so it did damage 0.1 of a second before. But hey, here's the combo
God.
once again. Inflame King Bomb rolling around downtown,
Hello.
but it's not going to be able to do too much.
What?
But lucky for them, there's only one chicken, and it's not dying.
What? And he didn't even get a kill off of it? What? That did not go to plan. Oh my God, Envy, I think just by surprise factor alone of how horribly that went, they're probably going to just take advantage in this point fight. Because, I mean, NIP, they had a plan. They're like, okay, 4 chickens incoming and no chickens incoming. And, oh, wow. So, sorry about that, guys.
I also want to, I think the fact that the King Bomb came in so hot, like it wasn't a cool, we're dismounted a couple of shots, then a King Bomb. It was like, while NIP are still getting off of their horse, a King Bomb just comes rolling up into their lap.
Yep.
And it's already at 87%. It's at 90%. It's doing incredibly well. So is Envy as they're fighting back for this one. I did not expect this one.
You kidding me? And NIP, are they pulling a Renegades right now? 3 points? Close it out 2 times in a row.
Oh, no.
Unable to do it.
They forgot how to count to 4.
Oh, no. Too many teams.
We got to get some Sesame Street in here.
Bring in Count Chocula. 1, 2, 3.
No, he has to keep going.
No, that's where he stops. That's why.
They only learned so much.
Man, oh man, oh man. What a turn of events here. Something that looks so right at the start ends up being so wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Relatable life quote right there for sure. And the Inflame activated, and the King Bomb, the pressure kept. And now NIP on their back foot, hoping to just defend here to get another chance at it. The Evil Mojo is ready. He's going to at least find that bonker will help him out.
And that's going to be a good one. But everyone's kind of, well, lopsided now. Envy are going to be fighting from NIP's base against NIP.
Guys.
The payload's moving forward. And so someone's going to have to get in here and, well, cause some sort of distress to be able to stop this from going.
Oh, big shots, though. Tanner goes low, forces the heal on himself. I mean, what a do-si-do. And you could tell that the one time they did this on their basically defense would have basically won the game. I mean, we are forgetting that this game should have been over maybe 8 minutes ago, and they allowed Tolkien to get back onto that point. So things are just all topsy-turvy here, man. And Envy are taking good advantage of it. They're like, you want to let us back in this game? Fine.
This is the one time that what, and like, 'cause every time NIP have like something that's like a close game, they always just say, yeah, we played bad. This is the one time where, or yesterday and today are like the 2 times where they've said that, and I genuinely can agree with them. Like before this, I feel like they've been playing incredibly. This is definitely mistakes.
Oh,
wow.
Big boy Rubu. And Tolki is there. Just wait for this out of combat healing. Inara's already got it, and he's got the battle shout. Wall is up. He wants to stay as healthy as possible. This is not what NIP wanted. They lose too quickly to the Khan, and he is still there. Ults, are they ready? They've got the assert dominance for the Ashe to defend. No Evil Mojo, no Hyper Beam, and the King Bomb has just become available.
They're about to have the Inflame as well. 95% charged on that, but Inara's incredibly low. Tolki taking off the board, and that might cause a little bit of trouble. They're going to be able to push this back, and that's going to be 3 clean kills. That should be a defense.
That should be it, and then that will be it. Great stun by Bird just to seal the deal. Close. Close. And it's because I think Alex does a great job there of poking out Random Noob when he's trying to finish off Diggy Dog, and he just takes so much damage he can't win that 1v1 when Tenor pushes. Yeah. If he does win the 1v1 on Tenor and they end up finding Diggy, I think he can King Bomb, and I think he can try his luck. I think it might have worked out for them.
The thing I'm wondering now is, coming into this, do they throw out the King Bomb as quickly as they did that last round? Like last round, you could probably put a timer on it, and I do still genuinely think like everyone had been dismounted maybe a second, maybe 2 seconds as that starts rolling up on NIP. It definitely felt like they popped that as quickly as they possibly could, because with the bonus movement speed, you're going to cover the ground. You don't have to get as far at first.
Look at this.
And they're going to have it ready for this round, even though the damage is pretty heavily in favor of NIP. Now the Wreckers are online, the Cots are online. Envy, they have the items they needed.
They just have to perform once. Oh my god, look at that. Look how low Bird is. He's literally one shot at this point. Rock Monkey must have done a huge planted combo there to put him in trouble. And also the King Bomb here, isolating Bonker, but Alex picks up a kill on Random Noob. Wasn't an overextension, Gore.
I mean, so far looking like it, although they're keeping everyone low on NIP. No one's found a kill just yet on the side of Envy. Rubu gets rid of Diggy. Rubu and Rock both go down, though. Those are the 2 big R's here for Envy. And a nice shot under the statue is going to connect there. That is what I've been expecting from NIP.
But only 18% on the point. This is not an early 1-point fight, and there was no early objective capture, so they're going to have a chance. Maybe. Depends on how good the zone is and how well this Evil Mojo goes. NIP can control it yet again. They do not have to let Envy back, but somehow they did before. Not such an advanced zone as we saw earlier, and Random Noob is here, and oh no, Alex is down.
That's going to be the biggest kill to open the door. Bird is left alone. He's not going to get that stun. You have to find it. They hit him with everything. They had everything prepared, the Hyper Beam even at the end, just to make sure there's no touching.
What an unreal game. That felt like Paladins you just don't often see, and I don't quite understand it all.
It kind of felt like some of it was standard Paladins and some of it was like Three Stooges Paladins is like the only way I can describe it, where it's just, you can almost hear NIP going, whoop, 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 whoop.
Getting into a little clown car sometimes after a few of those decisions.
Like you said, that game should have ended at like 8 minutes.
Well, they definitely could have, and I think they paid a very big price of giving Envy another chance. Envy did have a good chance, but NIP closed it out at the end of the day as well. Let's send it back to the desk and get ready for a continued very good set.
Thank you, fellas. Good job down there on the cast, and that was very, very close. Envy so close to clawing their way back. They had the tools in that final team fight. Didn't quite go in their favor, though. And one thing you kind of mentioned was, while Envy had a really good lineup and they made it work, they obviously were able to fight back. The item requirements that NIP almost bring to the table, that's kind of an unspoken thing. You kind of look on champion versus champion matchups, but Envy, they were really forced into buying a lot of specific items.
Yeah, one thing Nip's comp did is with Torvald, typically it's an early game comp, but what they have is they have the Damba, they have the Torvald, and they have the Pip and the Damba Fear.
Right.
So they're forcing Resilience, they're forcing Wrecker, they're forcing Cauterize, and they're even forcing like a Blast Shields or Haven because Cassie's doing a lot of damage, Pip's doing a lot of damage. So they force so many items. It's so hard for Envy to really catch up in the game.
Right, and that, I think, is what NIP were able to take advantage of. They did catch up there towards the end. I would say it was a very even footing going into that final 3-3. I totally forgot about this poor Bittner.
Oh, Bittner.
Bittner.
Oh, 2 days in a row, man.
Shake. Oh.
One Pentasteel, it happens, but 2?
Oh, that's calculated. That is, we ran into them last night, and they were all, honestly, it was funny because they were saying that while Bird was the one who got the kill, all of them were competing for that final kill. Bird ended up swooping in and getting it, but Bonker, Diggy Dog, the whole lot of them were wanting that fifth kill, yesterday. I imagine more of the same here today. Bittner's so close. He does get a triple kill as a bit of a consolation prize in this one, but his pip looked really good on this one. Was that a bit of a deciding factor for you, the pip play?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Bittner's pip on Jaguar Falls is just it is amazing. His movement, his heal timing, the amount of damage he can output on the character, and his ultimates. There was one point fight that was a bit odd. I think Envy played it really well. But besides that, the chickens were good. I think it's what won the game for him.
I mean, we're kind of looking big picture here, but specifically on a map like Jaguar Falls, is it almost worth banning Pip away from him or maybe trying to pick it away?
So it's tough to ban it right now because there's a lot of good picks. Yeah. But, yeah, it could be forced because Nip picks Pip every time they play Jag. I can't remember a game where they haven't had Pip on Jaguar Falls. So it's very... You know what they're going to do. It's very predictable what Nip's doing. So you could make up a plan. You could draft it out and figure out how you want to do it.
I mean, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. I mean, there's no reason to change it up when they're winning. Most of the time they're on Jaguar Falls. Interestingly enough, 4-1, 4-1, both in favor of Envy. The closest map of the set, of course, was that last one, 4-3. Goes in NIP's favor this time, so no 4-game sweep for Envy here today. At least needing to win 2 more. And Fish Market, most notably, is now coming out. Envy back on their pick, and this has been a map that they've been comfortable to go to, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, this is the world's winning map. You know, this is their map.
That's right.
They like this map. They practice it a decent bit. This is kind of like this is a middle of the road kind of map. You pick it middle of the set. You know, you don't have another map. Usually you have comeback maps where you go down, you pick a map, you know you're going to win. Fish Market for them is just like, all right, we won a game. We really need to win this game, so let's pick Fish Market. They're probably not comfortable on it because it's a map teams don't practice very often.
Sure.
So.
And Envy obviously feeling comfortable going here. Torvald Genos bans number 1 and 2 for the blue side of things. I guess that's Tan. I get NIP, the Tan side of things, banning out Atlas and Makoa in this case. So Khan's still around if Envy want to go that route. Does Eevee have a high priority on this map? I know Maeve obviously is a champion lots of people like to go to as well here.
I wouldn't say she's high priority, but she can perform well on the map.
Sure.
The map is very open, so it's hard to get around the map.
Right.
That's the issue. She can play the kind of like close side. You can't really go to the dock side and play Eevee. It's very difficult. It's too open, so I wouldn't put her at high priority, but she can be picked about middle of the draft.
Maybe not incredible, but definitely not a bad map for her by any means. Cassie continuing to be picked in the first at least couple rounds of picks here for both of these teams. Ash coming out first. Cassie number 2 for NIP. Answering back. The Khan goes off the board, of course, with Atlas, Torvald, and Makoa. Both teams electing for some of those frontliners, the obvious pacemakers in a lot of these games. Cassie as well going NIP's way. And that's been, I kind of like to call it these two-pronged picks in that she's, of course, a good champion. Of course, you have players on NIP who can play her very well, but also taking her away from Rock Monkey is so important because that's one of his, if not his, most comfortable champions.
Another interesting thing that I think NIP might be setting up for, I'm not 100%, but sometimes you pick Cassie early over other like mid-rangers because you want a Maeve or you want to counter a Maeve because that ultimate is that big of a deal. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a Maeve picked up by Nip because, like you said earlier, Maeve is good on this map.
Right.
It is a good map for her.
And Midnight just, I mean, it's such a fight-changing ultimate. Actually, I'd love to pick your brain. What's it like in those moments? You're playing against a Maeve and Midnight suddenly gets hit. Do comms just light up? You really probably have to communicate very heavily.
It is all about communication. When Midnight goes out, you have to know in general where all your teammates are. Yeah. But when it's Midnight, you better know where they were before that. Because sometimes the barrack's like, I'm going to dome shield. That's one of our biggest things. Like when we have a barrack against a Maeve, you dome shield the ult, and you kind of just group up and say, we're hiding in this dome shield. You're not going to touch us. Good luck.
That's pretty funny.
So comms, it is
just
difficult when everything is dark.
Absolutely. I imagine. I can barely play anyway, seeing everything. So with you guys are a bit more on my level, I think, with not being able to see anything. That's how I play on a regular basis. Liana Nar rounding out Envy's lineup. NIP with a flex 5th pick here. They go the Furia route. Envy grabbing Damba away. Will it be the Maeve is the question of the hour. again, returning to a little bit of normalcy here. Don't forget, map number 1, quad DPS for NIP did not work out in their favor that time around. Would Maeve kind of fit the mold here for NIP?
Yeah, very much so, because they need something to pair with that Ashe, because Cassie's kind of like that. It can be aggressive, the Cassie, but it's that mid-range, that's that constant DPS. It is that counter to even Eevee when she dives in, but they need something to pair with the Ashe when she goes in. That Midnight would be an awesome setup for the dive so far, because the biggest issue is the Connalt. The Connalt will instantly counter the Ashe. The Midnight will give her more time to do what she needs to do.
They're going deep into their pick time here. Maeve being hovered would be a good thing to lock in. Ooh, Shaolin getting swapped out.
Okay.
What does that change in your eyes? What does Shaolin bring?
The biggest thing he brings is I think he's going to go Explosive Arrow.
Yeah.
He wants to bring that burst on Eevee. It's interesting. I'm not 100% if it's going to be good here, but we'll have to find out. I think it's mainly for that Eevee.
It's going to be fun to see how it all plays out. We were kind of maybe preparing to see a Maeve, but Shaolin ends up coming through. NIP take the last map. It's 2-1 now in favor of Envy, and it's their map pick on Fish Market. Let's send it down to Gore and Evan and hear what they're thinking.
You know what, Gore?
I don't think they can hear thoughts.
I don't think they can hear thoughts. I think I have to verbalize them as words. But you know what? That's what thoughts are sometimes. You know, they come out as the words. You hope to try to get right around what the thought was. That's part of explaining yourself as a human being. Dave really did have something there. I think he was right. We're just giving him a hard time. And you know what? I think Envy are giving NIP a hard time, to be honest. Fish Market, maybe a harder place to guarantee that you're going to get back into having a good time, but, man, there's a lot of opportunity. Let's put it that way.
It's definitely hard. If Envy go up 3-0 or if NIP go up 3-0, it's really difficult to win 4 games in a row.
Yes,
but
sir.
Because you can stagger it out the way that it has been, where it's just 2-1, even though you might not have a Fish Market in your pocket, 3-1, well, we've seen so many people blow 3-1 leads today that it's not exactly outlandish to think that it could happen with a set either. But that is going to be the question for Envy. I mean, this is their map. This is their world's map. This is the one that they have been able to dominate on almost endlessly and relentlessly. The question is whether or not they can do it again. Like, I mean, every time you come in, you just have to continually prove that it's possible.
That's true. But you know what I say about Fish Market?
It's where teams go to lose.
Where teams go to lose. So at this point, going to be very difficult for me to see a good result happening in the way that you plan around Fish Market. It's just such a dangerous map. However, NIP, if you're talking about them getting back in the set, that's good. Envy not exactly too happy about the start of this one, but they do have 42% on the objective thus far.
I mean, they're being able to find that control.
Mr. Hayes, go
initially, Alex, I mean, he walks away with what, 200 health,
Mr.
300
Hayes.
health. Mr. Hayes is going for a stun there. Does get healed up, does get out of there alive. Unfortunately, loses Tolkien in the process, though, and that means NIP standing on the objective, a little happier, I think, at the end of the day, as they seem to have a pretty good control of this one, but we've seen how fast that can slip this set.
I mean, great job, though, man. I mean, Mr. Hayes being alive should not really have happened. Random Noob going to buy some time. Great burst, though, and they find Bonker, so that's huge. Rock Monkey now with a big pickup. The Scout's going to let him know exactly where that Eevee's probably coming from, the angle she's taking. That's really helpful for a character like Cassie to be able to just get that burst as soon as possible. And Shaolin really needs to start working. Here's the Inflame Gore and a big shoulder bash there. The kinetic burst as well available. But look at Tolkien up and down. Is he running Summit?
I mean, if he's not, that one's going to have some explaining to do as to how an Inara gets high up in the air.
You got some explaining to do. But Rock with a double kill. Is he going to turn it around?
9-9.
I don't think so. NIP looked to clean this one up. Great attempt. And we're going to have to see that Inara loadout because otherwise he's got some damn splaining to do.
Summit 5. There it is.
Summit 5, baby!
And on a map that's not
a map
Beach.
you would think to have Summit 5
I mean, Serpent Beach is the only one that I think we ever get to see it really come through. So pretty impressive from him to be able to pull a loadout out. And I'm kind of wondering what the thought process is other than maybe, I mean, obviously you can go up. Whether or not you come back down is going to be a big question, but you can get some really cinematic seismic crashes.
You know
from
what
up there.
what I think his thought process is? And one of the biggest weaknesses of Inara on a map like this, I mean, she's great at holding down the point. She adds that like layer where you have to consider the objective always when she's around because she's so tanky. If you ignore her in Damba, they will last forever. But the big thing about it is that when you dismount her on Fish Market, when you lose the fight, she's got no mobility. She's got no way to burst herself back onto the point like a lot of other champions do. That summit at the right angle, Tolkien might have figured out that you can kind of basically jump over.
Fling yourself forward.
Which is a unique thought process. And it's very much in line with a correct thought process of, this is a way to get mobility for Inara here on this map.
You could say he's got a summit in the back.
He's got summit in the back, right?
And he's ready for it. I think that's an exciting way to look at it, just because it is one of those cards that, like, I want to say is easily glanced over, because it's
it's the only way.
Admittedly,
I play Inara,
how often are
over.
you going to come through and think, man, you know what I really need out of this wall? The ability to fling myself really high into the sky.
I'm pretty sure he tested it too.
Only comes through a couple of times, but I mean, it looks good.
It does. What's so funny is that usually Summit 4 is what we see.
Yeah, so 5 is...
so 5 is like intentional. Yeah, it's intentionally a lot. And wow, do they want to kill Bonker or what? I mean, Seismic Crash. Tell me how you really feel, Envy. Get this guy off the
Throw
board.
him in the cage, lock the cage,
Louise.
dropped it down
Throw
with
some
a cinder block
tigers
on
and
top
lions
of it.
in there. Throw a freaking, prime ribeye. Have them thinking you're one or the other.
Tigers and lions. What about bears?
Oh, my.
Oh, my. Too much. That's too much overkill.
Yeah, I think,
They were fine with
Did
just
you
the
not get
lions.
that with the oh, my?
Oh, my.
Yeah.
That's too much.
There's something catchy about that. Maybe somebody should put it in something. Alas, great words that will never be heard by more people than who watch the Paladins cast. In 18 seconds, now on the, I guess, aggressive defense, you could call it. We need a word for offense that's a defense that really looks like an offense score.
A defense that looks really like an offense.
Because this is really an offensive defense, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm trying. I'll put that one on the back burner. I'll figure something.
Yeah, maybe something will come to us. And big stuff on the backside, and this is a huge one. Tolkien finds Bonker again, so really prioritizing the barrack. One of the things I noticed too is his win rate is 57%. For a 91% pick champion, his win rate's 57%.
Yeah.
That is huge. If you look at our game of Paladins, because we have a little time on the defense to talk about this core, an astronomical win percentage is like 60. Like that's like some Terminus stuff right there, where you're like, oh my god, you don't know why he sucks, he blah blah blah, but he wins. That for a high level play with all these players to have a 50, they would say we need nerfs, we need to figure out how to blah blah blah. I mean, that's insane, and he just recently got buffs. So I feel like there's something to prioritizing Barrack more than maybe he is. They got it 4th in this draft in IP. And boy, oh boy, there's just something interesting about that number.
It's definitely good for Barrack.
I mean, yeah, he's
like
living his
10 out
best
of 10.
life.
He loves where he is. He went from a champion who literally never saw the light of day to top pick. Well, I guess he went from a champion that was always played to a champion that never saw the light of day to a champion that's always played again. So
get his documentary right.
On the roller coaster.
He's high profile now.
He's high profile. He's got the sunglasses and everything. But right now, well, it's Envy who are high profiles. They're locking down pretty much every single member of NIP. And, well, hey, that defense comes out as a defense.
Listen, I heard Jonah Hill's actually playing Barrack in the, the real life. Live action.
Live action Paladins movie.
I don't know. He's getting into the character right now. I feel like there's just a lot of potential in understanding what it's like to be a dwarf, and your main competition is a 9-foot-tall stone warden that's rock-hard abs. And you're a dwarf and you've got a little bit of a belly. I don't know. I think there's a lot that's at play there. There's a great character dynamic.
And that, I feel
Jonah
like
could kill that,
yeah, the actors are actually going to pull out that dynamic. I think more than anything we could see. What I'm really excited for is to see how the stunt team are going to tackle the real-life summit. Not only bringing probably a CGI wall up out of the ground, but how to just...
Well, no problem. Gal Gadot's playing Inara, and, she'll be fine. Yeah, she flew for Wonder Woman all the time. Less about these huge deals and NDA'd, out-of-our-minds conversations that we just totally broke on air. We're going to send it over to Tolkien, who's chasing down this Cassie. This poor Cassie. Inara just running at Alex as well. They are just getting aggressed on, and it's actually working. Envy spacing this out quite nicely, trying to win the fight rather than the objective to start.
When the Inflame comes through, which is going to be able to cause a little bit more distress, I think, on the side of Envy. But they only lose Tolkien, and all in all, that is a fair trade for the Inflame to be able to come through, for a Dome Shield to be able to come through, for a Heat Haze that got popped. Just losing Tolkien is exactly what you want in that kind of scenario. Now they're going to have to figure out how to get back in, though.
Oh, what a Pyre Strike.
That's going to be the hard part.
Luckily gets the heal, overpower here, ready to go. Who's he going to find? Oh, nobody. Envy goes down. Alex kills Rubu as he probably uses that. And now Rock Monkey is in trouble here. Tenor pushing back the Scion of House Ico. Excuse me. Yeah, the Scion, not the Primus. That's Khan. And Alex here, 4 streak, looking good on the Shaolin.
I mean, exactly what they need. 72-27.
So quiet.
Yeah, it's very that's the one thing about Fish Market is when a team loses, it's kind of
like, oh, there he is. He tried.
Peaceful, I guess the way to word it. But this is going to be all planted all day. Tolkien tries to go up, he comes down.
It worked.
And now they're looking to try and potentially put him underground.
I mean, Alex and Tenor just found a couple of extra kills, but he got back to the point. You can tell how hard it is. I mean, that earlier round, you're seeing the difficulties of having a Nara on here. It's just because she's got to walk everywhere, man. I mean, when people are just able to dodge roll around a corner and you got to walk that corner in Fish Market, it's like, it's forever. And I like the attempt, man. I like the creativity.
Which do you like more? Summit 5 creativity or Quad DPS?
I knew where that was going. Well, it's been an overall very creative set, don't you think?
This is,
do you want to go, like, write a book?
The melding of the minds?
Paint something? I feel like it's got this inner spark of creativity going.
I want to see what Bob Ross could do after watching a game of Paladins.
Yeah.
Fish Market in Bob Ross's eyes.
Wow. I lost my breath. That was so magical of a thought. I got it back, though, luckily. I don't think you were worried about me. Minute and 30 coming up on the clock.
Someone in the building has no CPR.
Yeah. Well, you know, that happens when you mention that kind of beauty, Gore. It's just been one of those games right now where it's kind of hard to put your finger on it because it's really about this point fight. And the way that the aggressive offenses have been coming up, there hasn't been a moment that Envy's really looks susceptible to be pushed on. But wait a second here. Alex with a big, big kill. That's what they got him for. The Shaolin to burst down the Eevee is what Vex was mentioning. Can they make anything of this?
I mean, so far, they open the door, they touch the payload a little bit, and then immediately Envy respond in kind to just push them back. And the biggest thing that kind of catches my eyes, I mean, when you look at the way NIP's slash lines look, like Bonkers kind of staying afloat, and then it's Alex. Like, Alex is the threat right now. It's really coming down to Alex closing off the kills. And I think it's in tandem with the damage that's going to be done by Diggy, but Diggy's not finding the last hits. You have to deal with this Shaolin, and the minute he's gone, I think your day just becomes a little bit easier if you're Envy.
Yeah, Tolkien here again. Oh, but this time he goes to the outside here. I'm sure that was maybe trying to find Alex, but Alex might have just juked it out. Didn't look like he got stunned. A couple of big shots. Bonker finds a kill. Rocket boots away, gets a little bit of the bowling ball shield. Nice disengage as well. Alex keeping him nice and healthy. Big shot as well, realizing where Random Noob was going, but Rock Monkey and Envy barreling through. Triple kill for Rock Monkey here. Not going to find the Quadra just yet. He needs some teammates. That's a heavy health pool there from the Ash, so Diggy will make it out at least for now. But Rock is continuing to pursue, and Rubu will ultimately pick that up. It's going to be another 2-2 here. A push that was pushed more by the defenders than the offense.
Matt, we still need a name for it. There's got to be a good
name.
Because I want to throw out the phrase
often.
full court press, but I feel like that works on either side.
Yeah, it does.
Which is the problem.
But
it's
I like that, though. It is a
defender's advantage. Or I guess disadvantage, because that's really what it is.
You know, I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
Let's let it stew.
That's like a next week revelation.
Yeah, let's let it simmer.
It's going to come through, and someone's going to be like, you know what? Here's a good
This
term
is what
for
you
that.
call
the
it.
beam me up skies.
And we'll definitely say it to not us. It'll be like while you're casting with Nick or something, and it'll just be like, he's like, what? What are you talking about?
Especially now, because it's like he's not even here to know the conversation. He's going to be like, I'm sorry.
Nick left us. He's gone.
As is life.
Yeah, I don't even know where he's going. But
party hard.
Yeah, party hard, baby. It is Friday, ladies and gentlemen, so he's getting ready, and so are we, but this set is threatening to be too damn good of a time. Let's put it that way. So we're going to stay and watch all of it. Not like we had to. Nice Dread Serpent. Mr. Hayes during the Inflame gets Alex off the map with the ultimate. Diggy trades with the Damba, so that's already a problem, but Bonker able to come back and try to peel this one for the side of NIP. It is not easy though, but they are somehow doing it.
I mean, going overall pretty much ult for ult. They save Enlightenment, they save Ice Storm, and there's going to be one of them coming through trying to lock down Bonker.
It's a good Ice Storm.
It's not going to be enough to be able to get the kill. The healing's too strong. Bonker walks out with his life, which is not what Random Noob had in mind.
Nope.
But overall, there was pretty much the only way to get out of that, and for him to stay alive, was to leave this barrack alone. Bittner getting taken off, and I'm waiting to see what Rock Monkey can do.
Well, Random Noob's in trouble. I don't think they realize Alex is this far rotated. Now they will. But Random Noob not really looking at him yet. 87%. And this is what that Inara will do. She will force you onto the point. Big kill. 151. That's the number of health this man has, but it doesn't matter because the fight's already been won. This time, Envy, after that full court press on defense, are going to have a chance to full court press on offense and try to send this game and send this set into a 3-1 set point next map because they're looking deadly.
Well, now they have momentum. They've been fighting in this area pretty much the entire game, so they have plenty of practice right over here.
Absolutely.
And I think that's going to be the glory to them. The push going to be focused on, you can see by Mr. Hayes, they're going to have to back off to get the healing they need. But as long as they all stay alive through that, I think they're set up for success. Coming around the corner, they, again, have been in this scenario plenty of times, but with no real threat to the game coming out of it. Now, they have something to work for.
It's such an interesting dynamic here. And again, Inara playing with Barrack's insecurities. A huge AoE ult only onto him. Bonker's like, what is this about? What did I do to you? And Rock Monkey says, nothing. You're just in the way.
Barrack.
You're just in the way. And they just want that win. And they're going for something big like they went for that World Championship. Can they continue trying to crest this hill? One of the hardest things to do in Fish Market, one of the hardest pushes in Paladins, but Bittner has been pushed into a corner. Bird lifted up, and he doesn't get a chance to come down. Envy trying to take a 4-2 win here and put themselves at set point.
They're going to need a little bit better of a zone, though. They should be able to touch down at least once. A nice Dread Serpent's going to be able to push everyone away, and a beautiful overpower plucks Diggy Dog and throws him off the map. Bonker goes down, and well, Diggy did stay alive back there, but didn't make that big of a difference.
NV. And I think the only thing filled with envy right now is NIP looking at the score. They're like, that should be us. We want that 3-1, and they don't have it. If Renegades gave you an idea of NIP having some struggles yesterday, wow, this should, I think, clear it all up. Envy playing very well. Give credit where credit is due. It's not NIP playing just bad. Envy are back on championship form, and NIP look a little shook.
And that's the thing is, you know, yesterday shakes you up. Today you start with the wrong foot forward, and now Envy's shaking you up a little bit, and they kind of push you up against the wall. Jaguar falls, you fight back a little bit, but, I mean, a 3-1, again, it's very hard to win 4 in a row. 3 in a row is something that they have done regularly, though, so I don't expect him to be out, but they've got to change up a lot to get back into this.
And the Rain Day Wisdom, yet again, perseveres. Fish Market is a place you go to lose, and NIP now facing the ability to get knocked out and lose to Envy here as we head back to the desk and get ready for another game.
Always humble in victory is Rain Day. He called it, so I'll give him that. Place you go to lose. Envy, they win this one, though, 3-1. Now, don't forget, Envy have been up 3-1 before, notably to Na'Vi, and Na'Vi were able to win 3 straight, a bit of a tough defeat, I think would maybe be an understatement there for Envy, but we haven't crossed that bridge yet. Envy are playing like the better team right now.
Yeah, they're just showing up today. I think that's all that's all it is. Nip isn't playing their game right now. They don't seem like they're full form, and Envy coming off of yesterday, they seem like they're on top of their game right now.
And NIP, they won first 2-point fights in this one. Of course, sort of a tough map to push on, so Envy's able to answer back. But in a seemingly slow game, and we had 12 minutes for 4 points in this game. Of course, you can see that at the top there. Envy capture for point 3, and then maybe a minute or 2 later are able to push it through for the win. I think they won so handily on the point that NIP just couldn't stop and take a breath, and that allowed Envy to push it through. So now we're at 3-1. This was beautiful.
This is awesome. This is
by
awesome
the way,
to
from
watch.
Hayes. The moment the Inflame came out and Alex was running towards Hayes, I was like, all right, this one's over. And then the well-timed Dread Serpent. I love, I'm sure you love it too, seeing some support love because, you know, a few of them, they have those ultimates that can be game-changing. A good, well-playing support can really change everything. Mr. Hayes had a great game here. Of course, you can see the streaks up there. This Dread Serpent, just to zone out a little bit, I was sad. We were calling for it. We wanted to see the summit into a seismic crash.
I was waiting for it. I was like,
so
he was
close.
setting up for it. He was sitting by the wall and everything. We're like, it's coming now. But Summit, where did that come from?
I like it's well, I mean, what are your we were kind of discussing it. I mean, we're really splitting hairs diving into Summit here, but is there some merit maybe to Summit 5 on Fish Market?
On Fish, the only thing I could see, he did it one time in the point fight.
True.
He went over the side thing to touch, so they didn't block him, which was a good use of it. But I wanted to see him go over the buildings on the push and seismic crash from on top, and then everybody dives in.
Yeah.
But it's something interesting. I don't know if he meant to.
Right.
But
Either. I mean, it worked out. At the end of the day,
they won.
I mean, it was only maybe one or two specific moments where he used it.
Summit's got its first win.
That's that's right. There you go. Summit gets its first win against NIP, nonetheless, and you know. Don't rub your eyes. You are seeing this correctly. And NIP, they're on the back foot here. 3-1 for Envy. 1 game away from handing NIP their first loss in this set. Is there anything that maybe you can grasp onto that NIP just hasn't done well today? I mean, is there something that just looks different from NIP that have allowed Envy to capitalize? Or are they just not playing their best?
I think the biggest thing is draft. I think Envy has the draft of this meta, and NIP didn't keep up. They've kept up to this point, and we're ahead of the meta.
True.
But I think Envy has taken that leap forward. They've done their research. They've done their homework. They've practiced all the different comps, and they have figured out what works.
And that was a big talking point. And when we sat down with Random Noob, and actually, honestly, we talked with Meta. We talked with everyone, really. And the idea was very much that. The meta's changing. I think Envy were kind of holding on to what won them Worlds, but the meta had shifted away from that. So it's like you come out of winning Worlds, you're like, all right, we just won. Let's go back to what we had been playing that won us Worlds. And it wasn't working out as well to start off. It looks like they're getting a lot more comfortable with the way the meta's flowing right now. And again, 1 win away from taking it off NIP
so
here.
Close.
And it's back to NIP's map pick. So Envy pick Fish Market to stabilize the game because that's an important. They're up 2-1, but with the last win going over to NIP, that's a momentum stopper for sure. I mean, big Jaguar Falls win for NIP. If you don't win the next map, and 2-2 is such a different scoreline from 3-1, and now Envy 1 away. It's going to be Ice Mines, interestingly enough. Now, this is a map where, again, NIP have shown some flexibility. Dredge notably coming out on this map. Maybe expecting to see a Dredge. Expecting is maybe a tough word, but could you see a Dredge coming out here?
They could do something crazy, but I really think they're picking this Ice Mines to slow the momentum.
Yeah.
I think they're going to go back to standard. They might try something crazy, but if I was NIP right now, Ice Mines is a good pickup for the map because it's a slower map. It's hard to push on. The point fights are longer, and it's just there to stop the momentum of Envy to get this map win and to move on to the next map and start picking up the pace again.
And I don't want to look maybe too far into it, but the quad DPS map number 1, do you think that maybe just started the day off on the wrong foot for NIP?
I think so, yeah. I think it was risky. It's a good idea. It worked. It has worked before. But as a first map, it might throw them off. But Envy's seen it before. They have seen it done, like back in the day on G2. Like I was telling you earlier, we used to run that against them on Timbermill. Timbermill and like say Splitstone are the only 2 you can run it on. So they kind of maybe saw it being set up.
Right.
So it was super risky for NIP to do it early on.
And it didn't pay off. They were able to grab a win on Jaguar Falls, notably Bittner on the Pip having a great game in that one. Envy are going to go with Ashe Tyra. And with Genos being banned out, does that sort of bump up Tyra a little bit in the priority chart?
Yeah, Tyra is an interesting pick right now in general. She, on maps like this, when she is close to mid-range, that's when she gets her most effectiveness out of her gun. You know, she's constantly doing damage. Her mark I want to see what they pair with the Tyra. That's always the big thing. Typically, you want to pair like a Bomb King. Bomb King Tyra is an insane combo, especially on a map like Ice Mines. So I would expect maybe seeing a BK coming out of Envy here. That is the biggest thing about Tyra, though. You pair it with something. That's how it works.
And with Pip going over to NIP, I mean, that would presumably be their one blaster on this map. So Envy with free play here. Of course, Combustible Drogo sometimes gets played on a map like this. We have seen a Dredge in the past, but honestly, if I'm Envy right now, we haven't necessarily picked anything crazy, and it's been working out. So I think this is the wrong time to go off on some totally different route.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, the standard, the good meta picks have been working for you. Maybe stick with something along that route. They get the Furia yet again.
Get the Inara. That's interesting picking Inara over Barrack here. I'm not 100% why they did that. I think Barrack right now is the better point tank.
True.
And without Genos, the Barrack's going to do really well with the Furia because her healing on Inara is decent, but Barrack's easier to sustain overall because the Furia doesn't have the high healing like Damba does. So giving it over to NIP, I don't know if it's worth not taking it, but the Inara is still super strong.
And I know that you guys obviously picked Inara a good bit yesterday, a few times today. She's by no means a bad champion.
Exactly.
It's just some of the other champions filling different roles. NIP, of course, having the Barracks still on the board, are going to jump at that opportunity. Cassie, interestingly enough, being 9th picked here, and now this is sort of the last flex that Envy have. Bomb King still on the board. Drogos may be, well, I was going to say a little more interesting, but that may end up being the way they go anyway. And Combustible Drogos can be a game changer if you hit some good flame spits.
Well, the big thing is NIP has 2 executes, Con ult and Pip ult. Envy has nothing for executions, so they're going to look for Ice Mine is a very point-oriented map. So with the Con and Pip ult, Nip is looking to win this game purely off of ults, and Envy doesn't really have those ults. So yeah, the Drogos does make sense for the execution. The ults on Envy, they're pretty decent, but with the Drogos, it really helps them step their comp up and match Nips here.
So you're happy with the Drogos there?
I think it ends up working out because they do need the executions to go against the Pip and the Con.
Well, of course, the Pip, especially in Bittner's hands, always something you have to keep your eye out here for. Do you like the way NIP have drafted?
Yeah, I really do like their draft. I think Pip is just a strong pick for them.
Absolutely.
There's no reason not to take it on these close maps for Bittner. He has been absolutely destroying it on it. The Cassie's a really good pick as well against the Inara, so it's a really good draft overall.
Definitely, and I mean, honestly, aside from maybe the questionable quad DPS that we keep talking about, NIP have not drafted poorly today by any means. Just Envy has been playing really well, and NIP just haven't quite brought it. This could be it. This could be NIP's first loss here in the PPL. Envy, they need to clean it up onto Ice Mines. Let's send it down to Evan and Gore to get it started.
I almost can't believe it, but here we go to Ice Mines, ladies and gentlemen, with a chance for NIP to lose their first set of the split. Things are going to get intense. Things are already pretty serious. And now, Envy has a chance to do something no other team has done this year.
And so far, they've been looking like they are on the right track to get there. The biggest thing I think that NIP have going for them is that they wanted to come here. They get the Pip, who I think is really good here. They get the Cassie, who I think is really good here. But the problem is, and this is actually just me trying to pull this, I think Envy were the one team that when Renegades was like just dominating everybody on Ice Mines, Envy were the ones that were like, cool, we pick Ice Mines then?
Yeah.
All right, let's just go. Like, if this is where you want to go, let's go.
4-0
and I feel like that's exactly where their mindset could be right now, where it's just like, cool, you're taking us here? All right, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Already Random Noob doing a great job, I think, on Drogos. A lot of pressure, not only with shields, and you know how Salvo just impacts those shields, basically deletes them in a really, really efficient way, but just Drogos scaling. It's just really effective right now. This is going to be an issue. Running with Combustible, we don't always see that, but the way he's playing, he's going to hug this corner, and he's going to try to find AoE splash, displacement, and then try to take advantage of it.
Well, first blood finally going to come out, and that's going to be Mr. Hayes. They do trade out Tulky for Diggy Dog, but it is going to be a couple of good rockets right here. A lot of damage from this Drogos.
Missed it.
But it hasn't been locking anyone down just yet. It's been a lot of poke.
You got to worry about this because Tanner's moving closer and closer. If he just gets a free shot, this is trouble. Right there, Alex gets hit. That's big. Forced a little bit of the dash. And so now Bonker holding onto the point. Envy have done a great job of just kind of backing off when they need to and respecting NIP. I mean, this is big time, and already Evil Mojo, do they get a kill off of it? Nothing. Nothing happens.
And unfortunately for them, that honestly might make or break the way things go, because you're looking at Inflame coming up, you're looking at Crossfire coming up, you're looking at Dragon Punch coming up here for Envy, and all of those are definitely a way to win a point fight. This is going to be a good punch.
Yeah, you got to try and get Pip here, I think. You take the Evil Mojo out. This is risky. I don't know. Yes, valuable. No one's chasing. Are you kidding me? Envy grabbed the point. It was enough. It was the right call. I can't believe he made it out of that one alive. And somehow he is still alive here. He misses the shot. Big time cleanup from Tinner. I think that slows some of the momentum, but not enough. Team Envy moving forward.
I mean, the glorious thing about this, NIP will be able to clash with Envy before Random Noob gets back, but they get the first leg of this push going, which is like the one thing, especially at this level, that will stop a payload push on Ice Mines almost immediately, is losing your momentum right out of the gate, right? Like if you can't get through that first arch, you might as well not even bother trying to push it. You will not make it down this hill. But now you're already halfway there. That's a good setup.
Big stun, and look at that. Dread Serpent as well. Right angle, wrong time. Random Noob stays alive. No one's able to push him. Big cleanup from Diggy. He's going to get 2. That should do it there, because Tolkien now isolated, and so is Mr. Hayes. They're just going to respawn. They're going to let this happen. They're actually going to try to delay the spawn of Tolkien by staggering him out, but Tinner will clean that one up. And now NIP will begin their offensive zone.
I'd actually argue this is a little better overall for Envy. It's kind of awkward.
I agree. You want to pull him out of that, yeah.
This is very, very solid, because now you're in an awkward spot. You're separated as 2 right here. You can find a kill onto the Cassie, and that can open up this door a little more. But good shielding, good body blocks, and great movement overall just stops that from coming through. Now she's full health, and Envy are the ones dying.
That's great team play, man. And you know what? It's a bummer no one else was there, but they picked a fight on 2 fronts, and it was a good fight, and it was the right fight. And now they've been put all the way back to their base. My goodness, that payload's starting to inch a little bit back and forth. Excuse me, backwards. Because that'll happen in Paladins. If you just don't push long enough, it will start to go back towards its original starting position.
Once it regresses, again, you're looking towards the beginning. It's going to take a long time to get up there, but if it gets to the top of the hill, that's one of the most difficult areas to get a push started, which is kind of, opposite of what you would think mentally. You would think pushing a cart off the top of a hill. Usually the easiest thing you could do, but trying to get things rolling is very difficult up there, because they're going to have time to respawn and usually match you. But right now, NIP, they aren't going to have time. Envy should be able to not only get there, touch, push forward as they are right now. But all of this is going to happen in overtime here in about 10 seconds, and that is the hard part.
Well, they did really well. Their comp essentially beat out NIP's comp, and I don't know if they're going to gamble ultimates, but in this moment, they didn't have a Random Noob. They didn't really have the Drogos plus Rock Monkey. They were kind of waiting for those 2 to stall out, and look at that, already helping to win that fight on that upper ledge. Tolkien is low, though, but a good heal, and now this is going to displace a few. Tinner, I think, has used his movement ability already, so he can't get back up. They get a big kill on Diggy. This is not impossible here, but they've got to touch the point, and Rock Monkey's very, very low. Tinner off the board would be huge, and he's gonna go back. Okay.
They've got it.
Wow.
Except they don't.
Both tanks fall. That's the key. Good defense by NIP.
So good from Random Noob, though. That's the part that's really hard to, he's surprisingly, in my mind, not top damage. He's surprisingly not getting a lot of kills, but, it just feels like his Drogos play right now is just impeccable. Like, it's hitting every stride it needs to. And it's kind of weird that we live in a world where the most that I've seen Drogos and the best I've seen Drogos in a long time is Ice Mines, where it's not normally his map. But he's been playing a big role in this, and I think that's going to be the key for Envy. If he ends up trading this around, I believe he was 2 and 4. If you see that swap to the point where he's going to be doubling his kills more than his deaths and hits that 2.0, that's when this team becomes a lot scarier.
Well, they're very, very content to wipe, and that's what these are. It's really 3 failed attempts at pushing on Ice Mines that really were the kills. None of the real kills happened until that first point fight once they had already won it for Envy. That's when Random Noob died the first time. So all of those other ones are just attempted pushes, and you're going to take your deaths anytime. You're just trying to get it right, because the push on Ice Mines is absolutely monumental. And Random Noob, he gets out of this one again. Not enough punish. And that's just credit to Envy's pace here. Big stun, big damage, misses the first rocket. Can he get the second? Yes, he can, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, he can.
There's going to be a nice Evil Mojo, though. Finds 2, but no kills come out of it. Rubu goes down in the hallway, but a Dread Serpent is forced, and it's still not enough to save Bird or Alex. They both go down, and Envy, well, guess what they've been doing the whole time? They're on the point.
And they won this better. They won this faster. I mean, they're new and improved at this
Stronger,
point.
better,
Stronger,
faster,
better,
stronger.
faster. And they're new and improved because now they can start this push. Everyone's alive, and they've already got a little bit of a zone. This is the best play. This is the right play from Diggy Dog to just get rid of one, but they're going to lose one as well, and that's a point tank. So still 1 DPS versus 1 DPS and a half. They've got Pip on that side as well, plus Cassie. So maybe I should say 2.5 there because Pip counts for that and a little bit extra. But Rock Monkey holding it down still. Good Hunter's Mark impact.
I think the big thing right now is going to be the 2 front lines versus the 1. Until we see Barrett get back, which you can see him on his mount, going to be touching around the payload just now. It's going to be pretty lopsided. It should be NV kind of winning the war of attrition overall, but you can see the payload moving like 10 feet throughout all of that. This is going to be where things start to kind of shift in dynamic and in momentum. Who gets the first kill opens up this door for either side.
And Bonker is just a little bit not in the
zone.
He's just not, it's not in the zone. He's a little bit off pace with the team, and he's there so aggressive looking for that one kill. And to his credit, he is one shot. Rock Monkey is one shot. He pushes what he knows could end that, could basically put them on the offense now for the rest of the round. But the gamble means that everyone, once that goes down, is free to kind of have this height, have this pressure relieved, and they're able to push. They're in a great spot here with 1:10 left. They can take their time.
I mean, this is where Jogos loves to be able to peek as well. Like, this is exactly how you want to play it. You have superfluous cover. Like, you have so much that you don't truly need.
Right.
You're just going to be able to peek out a little bit. There's going to be an inflame as well and a crossfire coming out. They're looking for blood.
And that had to be a seismic crash. It almost gets Diggy. In fact, in all intents and purposes, I've said that a lot, should have gotten him, but no, it doesn't. Firebomb there, forcing Bonker to that awkward left corner, and there's a Hunter's Mark as well. He needs a heal from Pip, and he gets one, but Combustible is just so much pressure. It's so much displacement. People forget how hard it is to fight into this, and will he sacrifice the Dragon Punch? It's a huge key for this next round, Gore, but I'm not sure he's going to use it right now. They still got plenty of time.
I mean, 30 seconds is all they have to fight. There goes Tyra, though. Rock Monkey going down means no more marks, means no more easy targets on these front lines. You're going to need a little bit more to keep it rolling forward for you. And it looks like they're making the call. Fall back. Hold on to the ults you have. Look for an overtime, but don't throw out the Dragon Punch. Don't throw out the Assert Dominance unless you truly believe it'll make the difference.
That clearly is it. The calls have not been to touch, or excuse me, to use the ults there. This is a very tough angle. He's trying to get basically a line of sight on Bonker, and Bonker has the hardest job in the business right now, just trying to hold off against that damage, but he's done a good job at least of finding pressure offensively. Alex, Tenor, 2 huge kills. Rock Monkey doesn't have it in him. That's the rough part. And I didn't mean that as a character fault. I just meant that Tyra can't kill Barrick in that position.
And I mean, that's just a champion fault in general. That's part of the problem with Tyra is very much, I'm not the carry anymore. Yeah. My job is I'm going to burn shields.
Yeah.
I can burn health bars with Crossfire, and like in a DPS 1v1, I can DPS, but it very much is this, I'm going to make it so that guy can hyper carry, and I think that's the one they want.
And you know what? Mr. Hayes, you know what he's been doing? Shooting a little dead body of Bird there. And really letting him know that he's feeling it today. And he certainly has. He's been playing phenomenal. He's 7-3.
Yeah.
Very hard to kill him.
He's carrying harder than Random
Listen,
Noob.
man, this guy's got 32,000 damage. It's 3 times. And we forget about Furia. Not only the damage she brings, but the damage that not just the healing she brings, right? Because Cherish, obviously that buff is big, but the damage she does compared to other supports when they're doing their role. Bonker almost dead here. He might be.
And that should be a kill. Evil Mojo came out, though, and it's going to be a little bit of a back and forth. It's going to be 2 for 1 overall.
Oh, no.
And with this kill, that's going to be big. This should be able to just find some control. They need to move forward in zone.
Oh, no.
Has to jump off the map to save his own life.
And this is huge. In IP, they make a big adjustment. They get value from the Evil Mojo. That hasn't really happened. We've seen the Dragon Punch be the value. We've seen that he's getting out of situations you would expect him to be able to not get out of. Enough damage is what will open this up, and a Dragon Punch here is going to force them away. I might have tried to go for Tenor, but he knows 81%. He finds Diggy after the stun. What a combo there from Random Noob and Rubu.
Just to be able to guarantee you're going to get in, you're going to get a kill, and he's not going to run away. He's not going to be slippery this time around, and that is what Tyra can bring. She can burn down fast, but unfortunately Rock Monkey goes away, and Mr. Hayes tacks on 2 more to his name, and you need this trade. You cannot fail this.
Thank God he has a salvo. I mean, he kind of just has to hit the general direction. At that point, I think he got a little nervous. Guessed a little bit short on where he was, and now they've traded one. Seismic crash. crash here. That's going to do it. Tolkien going to secure this one for his squad. 96% body blocks for days. You can't get past the Stone Warden. She is stalwart. Envy, 1 point now, and they're going to put the L. And they're just going to give NIP their first L. I mean, let's put it that way.
Yeah, and honestly, I can't think of a better name than Stone Warden for someone who just kind of locked NIP up right there. I mean, I think that was perfect.
Yeah.
That was jail cell equivalent. You were just locked
Absolutely.
away, and it was going to be big. Inflame right here, going to be able to open the door. The biggest thing I like about Inflame, especially in this kind of scenario, not only do you have 2 minutes to charge it back,
1381,
but it's
Gore.
so fast.
For 1 rocket, he just hit her for 1,400 damage. That's not fair.
That's a lot of damage.
That's not fair. That's an Inflame and a Tyrus mark.
That's
not fair.
Imagine if he had, like, if someone just decided to throw a Luminary boost in
Yeah,
there,
they had
and
some
he was
Genos in
running
there as well.
Fusillade, and it's a direct hit, and it's just like, you're one-tapping people.
1,800 damage, like a one-shot Eevee. You could one-shot Eevee, maybe. Oh, my God.
Oh, man. That'd be fun.
Gore.
I mean, well, for the Drogos,
Yeah.
not for anybody else.
Not for anyone else.
Especially all the people who have to line that up for him. It's just like, they're doing their own version of calculus.
Hard time to go into an anecdote, but Dry Bear, me and him have some of the funniest jokes about when he put in Fusillade Drogos at first. It's going to be a nice little stabilization here to kill him, throw him into the... He had it at 200%. We play tested one day, and I think we lasted about half a play test because I said, Rory, this is the stupidest thing I've ever played against. I'm done. Drogos hit for like 2,000 damage a shot.
Well, look.
You got to test the extremes, right?
Yeah,
That's what he
know.
told me. I said, "Screw you! You just wanted to. He just wanted to
one-tap some people.
Guess who played Drogos in that playtest? Rory.
Nick.
No, he wouldn't let anyone else have it.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Either way, it's coming through. And, well, hey, it might not be 200%, but he's still hitting pretty hard. Random moves back, and here comes the Dragon Punch. That will do 100% of the health bar as long as he finds a target, but he doesn't need one. He's scaring everyone away.
He certainly has. Could this be it, ladies and gentlemen? Have we seen NIP fall? We certainly have. MB stunning them again. They grab the win. They continue their dominant performance this week, and they are on the rise. Quiet, says Tolkien to the haters, the disbelievers. They are back in championship form, and Tenor shaking his head about more than just pentakills lost.
That one was shaky, again, from start to finish, and I think that has been the week for NIP. Yesterday was still a 4-0 for him, but it took, a while to get there. Today, it was a 4-1, and it took them a while to get just the one that they had. So I think they are, at this point, just trying to figure out where's the solid ground? Where do I need to stand to make sure that the world just stops shaking for a little bit?
Gore, it was a fun one, but I think what's also fun is that we actually get to go and interview someone who's not NIP after an NIP set. We get to see a different perspective.
Dude, we're going to have to get those gold plates removed.
Oh, my God.
Those are exclusive seats.
I know, exclusive seats. Maybe they're renting them out. At least this week, NIP aren't the ones on top yet again. What a wonderful run they've been on, though. I mean, 10-0, that's pretty impressive, but it's going to end there. They're going to add that first one in their loss column. MV take the game, they steal the show, they grab the victory, and that's about all we have to say until we talk with them in just a few moments. But until then, let's send it back to the desk and get Dave and Vex's thoughts.
Envy go up 3-1 again, but they do not make a mistake of it this time. 4-1 over NIP. Yeah, look down there. Don't scratch your eyes. You're seeing it properly. NIP have lost today to Envy, and honestly, that wasn't really even all that close. I mean, some of the games, some of the micro play was, but 4-1.
Yeah.
Envy kind of rolled over NIP today.
For once, 4-1 actually tells the whole story.
Yeah.
Like, usually the 4-0s, like with the Renegades, they've played extremely well,
Right.
but NIP just didn't seem like they were there today. They didn't seem like they were cohesive. They didn't seem like they were playing together.
Yeah.
Envy seemed like they were all together. They were all one mind. Their drafting was way better. Envy's drafting was amazing today.
Agreed.
NIP's was all right, but Envy seems like they're just ahead of the curve right now.
Absolutely. And on it, I mean, we saw maybe like little glimmers of it yesterday against Renegades, where the Renegades, they came to play, and NIP, they ended up winning, but wasn't as convincing of an NIP as we used to see. And then today, again, maybe some more of the same, but Envy, they take advantage of it. Of course, always great to see some good support play,
Awesome.
but I would honestly not even consider him a support in this game because I think he had the most kills up there at some point.
He had 13. The second highest was 9 and 8. Like, he was Mr. Hayes absolutely had a game this game. He didn't have the highest damage, but he is securing those kills for his team. He's getting those heals off, and he was just staying alive. He played this game near perfect in this BM here. That's,
I know,
that's always funny to see.
Listen, when you're feeling good.
Yeah, you're feeling it.
And you know, this is very much an NIP sort of reaction.
Exactly.
Like, you know, you don't do that against some teams in the league, but when you're about to dethrone the top dog, the 10-0 NIP, and you're feeling good, you're rolling. Sure.
You
Shoot some bodies on your way out.
You want
That's
to
right.
tell them you're dethroning them. You tell them we're the team that did this. That's
right.
what that was right there. That was a statement from Mr. Hayes.
That's right. Throws off the
Ooh.
headset, slams the desk. That is a hyped up Envy. That's a scary Envy. That's
Very
a scary
scary.
Envy to play against. They're really firing on all cylinders right
Yes,
now.
sir.
And you know, the question coming into, you know, not even this week, but a few weeks ago was like, can Envy bounce back from the slow start they've had?
Yep.
Would you say Envy now are back?
Yes. After yesterday playing them and after seeing them today, yes. I think there's a thing with Worlds team. They kind of just slow down after Worlds. They're drafting, like you said. They're
Sure.
drafting. They kind of stuck to world drafting. They didn't fully adapt. They got in that house. They got their things worked out. You know, Random News said he was having a hard time.
True.
I can understand that away from home. They got
sure
their
you
stuff
get
worked
it.
out. Exactly. Like, they finally, right now, everything seems like it's coming together perfect
True.
for them. They're figuring out everything, and I think they're on the upswing from here on.
I mean, no better way to indicate that you're on an
Yeah.
upswing than unseating NIP, playing a near flawless day. And I think that's important, kind of like you said. I mean, it's easy to come in and, you know, you have bad weeks. You maybe get down on yourself a little bit. But I'm sure they're on top of the world. We actually, surprisingly, you know, we normally go to NIP interviews after these games. But not today. We have Envy standing by with a victory interview.
Well, hey guys, congratulations on what is going to, I mean, I guess go down in PPL history because you dethroned the Kings, you've beat NIP. How does it feel?
Feels pretty good. We were just going into that set kind of wanting to play our game and make sure that we had a fun set, that we were like proud of how we played, and I think we did that. Yeah.
You too, man. How do you feel?
Feels pretty good. It was really fun. I'm just happy I get to play Cherish Fury again. That was my favorite support, and they brought it back, so I'm happy. I love it.
We did see a little BM coming through. Can you comment on that?
You know,
Hayes
it is
always
what it
does
is.
that. That's like it's a habit.
It doesn't matter who I'm playing against. That's just what I do.
Don't read
it's
too much
nothing
into it,
personal.
basically.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's definitely not dethroned because they've just done so well over the season. It's almost essentially will have that first spot. But you've definitely, and I think yesterday, seen that anybody can beat anybody. I mean, Renegades were very close to winning 6 out of the last 8 games, but they won none. I mean, things can happen. Does this give you more confidence going forward? Obviously, yourselves included, but does this also say, wow, we have to make sure we're prepping for everyone?
Yeah, I mean, we were already prepping for everyone regardless. We don't really like underestimating anyone or like looking at anyone as like an easy win. We try to go into every game with same amount of preparation, so we're ready for it.
It definitely paid off today. I think you guys obviously are excited about the win. Everyone else is as well. Big conversations going forward. It was weird to hear you say taking the king, like taking the king dethrone, because you guys are kind of, you know, the world champions. People forget you're the defending world champions. Did it feel like you were usurping a king, or did it feel like you were just getting back to where you should have been?
It definitely felt like we were, you know, dethroning them a little bit. Beating an undefeated team is always like a feels good moment for yourself and as a team. So I definitely think it kind of feels good to like take back our spot.
Yeah.
Well, hey guys, congratulations once again. You're leaving this week 2-0. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Obviously, you hear from the man himself. He just likes to shoot bodies regardless of who he's playing. So that wasn't necessarily just an NIP thing, but just an we're winning, we're feeling good sort of thing from them. And they should be feeling good.
Very much so.
Big win from them today, 4-1. And, you know, they have a lot to look forward to. Of course, NIP will still be on top, given that they're 10-1, arguably still, you know, maybe the team to beat for everyone. But a big statement game, I would say, today from Envy. And if nothing else, it shows that maybe anyone can beat anyone in a lot of these weeks.
Exactly. I mean, that's the biggest thing in this league with everything coming together is anybody can beat anybody. You see those teams at the bottom, Knights and Renegades. Renegades, even though they lost this week and they didn't seem like they won 8 games, it doesn't do it justice. They really put up a fight every single game. Yeah. They've done really well.
Honestly, I mean, it's like 1-10 and then 32 differential, but like, see me, I don't know. I had to cast their games this week, and it's just like so, like, it could have, it very much, honestly, yesterday could have been 2-1 Renegades halfway into that set. I mean, it was just so close for them. NIP, of course, grabbing 1 win, 1 loss here in this week. Envy going 2-0 on the week. Let's take a look at what we have in store for you next week. We have Kanga. We have a triple header, I should say, on Thursday next week. Kanga back in action against SSG. Renegades taking on the Knights. And then Envy. They're going to be back for a Thursday afternoon game here. What do you look forward to out of those 3?
Oh, God, every single one of those sets, actually. Like, Renegades and Knights, you know, they're the bottom 2 teams, so it's going to be interesting. SSG, Envy, all of them are going to be really crazy sets to watch.
And then, of course, the Friday schedule, Space Station getting back into it against the Knights. Envy will have Renegades on the opposite side, and then Virtus Pro, Space Station. Are you excited to go up against the Space Station boys?
Very much excited. The last time it was a 4-3, and it was a very close 4-3, so I can't wait to have another game with them. It's
going to be fun. It was a fun week this week. I'm sure it'll be a great week last week. I appreciate you coming onto the desk with us for this last set. It's always fun to get a little bit of extra insight into a lot of these things. It was a great week of the PPL. No better way to end it than on an upset like we just saw. Envy unseating, maybe not, and NIP are still on the top, but beating the undefeated NIP. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Make sure to tune in on Monday for the Console League. Enjoy your weekend.
Brought to you by Evil Mojo, Hi-Res Studios, INAP, Respawn, SteelSeries, Alienware, and Skillshot.